after we hear the national anthem. There you hear the capacity crowd on hand for the state title game this afternoon as the Claflin Wildcats, looking for their third straight state championship today, take on the St. Mary's Pittsburgh Colgan Panthers. A real catfight this afternoon, and we're going to have some introductions here before we get play underway. Let's listen to the address announcer. There you have all the Claflin Wildcats with public address announcer Gerard Welbrock.
And now it's 61-1 Pittsburgh St. Mary's. Number 4, BJ
you heard every player, coach, and maybe a few moms and dads introduced. We're going to see the coin toss now with the captains. Howard Peters and Dave Hickle are joining us on this afternoon's broadcast. Dave, who are the captains for the defending state champion Wildcats?
Yeah, more than likely it'll be number 76, Matt Lamach, and maybe John Staudinger. It looks like number 70, Sean Steiner.
And we've got Chris Coltharp, along with Adam Duncan, Russ Walker, and the senior tight end, Jimmy Van Beesler, the captains for the Colgan Panthers.
Lamont is not the captain today. Number 44, Kip Preisinger, is going to come out with Steiner.
The officials explaining how this will work. And with the slight breeze here, Howard, I would imagine that may play a factor in determining where they're going to want to defend one goal or the other. Or
this should be an interesting ball game with the air attack of the St. Mary's Colgan Panthers against the vaunted ground attack of the Claflin Wildcats. The Wildcats averaging 419 yards a game on the ground, and that's going to be tough for these Colgan Panthers to handle today.
Now Pittsburgh Colgan did win the toss, but they decided to defend and let Claflin receive the opening kickoff. So Pittsburgh Colgan will defend the north goal. Or am I turning around here up here, Howard? And Claflin, although they lost the toss, they will receive the opening kickoff. Pittsburgh Colgan wants the win in that fourth quarter.
Well, it's state football action between St. Mary's Colgan Panthers and the Claflin Wildcats, and what a day. State championship football. Really great to be out here with you, Stan and Dave.
We're going to have fun today.
We are.
And we're going to see some exciting football. St. Mary's lost their opening game. They have so many names for this team. St. Mary's, Pittsburgh Colgan. I'm going to try to call them the Colgan Panthers. I think they're referred to as the Colgan Panthers more than anything else. But they lost their opening game and have not lost since. Claflin hasn't lost since Hitler was a corporal, I think, or something like that. I mean, it's been a long time since the Wildcats were beaten. When was the last time they lost a game, Dave?
These guys, it's been a long time. 38 games they've won in a row. The last time they lost was the first year we went back to 11-man. We lost in the first round of the playoffs to the Stockton Tigers.
Ah, yes. The old Stockton Tigers knocked them off a couple of seasons ago in the playoffs. That was a good ball game. As the Wildcats are on the Lewis Field AstroTurf to receive the opening kickoff. They're ready to go. Greg Webb's got them out there and ready to get things going. Chuck
Gavin
Smith.
Beck.
Go ahead, Howard.
Dave Debbas back deep along with Ben South.
And a fellow for Colgan that we'll hear often today carrying the ball will be kicking off. Junior running back Joe Taylor also handling the kickoff duties for this afternoon's state title game. We've got some cool temperatures, probably low 50s, upper 40s at kickoff time with a slight swirling wind.
You know, the Wildcats have only seen 18 kickoffs against them all year long, so
that's quite
a statistic in itself.
And there's the swirling wind knocking the ball off the tee. Taylor gets it up one more time, and I think we're ready to get the ball game underway. And there is the end-over-end kick. And it's taken by Debbas. He's across the 30-yard line and out of bounds across the way.
Good field position for the Claflin Wildcats as they start, Stan.
Yes, indeed. 1st and 10 for the Plowboys, as they call them. Right, David?
That name got stuck to him a few years back. Somebody from another town said, "You big guys are nothing but a bunch of Plowboys," and it stuck to him. And
they've been plowing through the state playoffs and through the regular season, and they're ready to line it up. Here come the Wildcats. And Devis on the first play from scrimmage, right up near the first down marker.
you know, David's averaging 9.6 yards per carry, and I believe that's about what he picked up right there. So.
Yes, indeed. Dustin Hickel knows how to hand that football off.
Well, and when you can get behind a couple of big bookend tackles like Claflin has, there's a lot of room for running.
Let's see what the official rules here. I think we may have a measurement.
You know, the four top rushers for the Wildcats are averaging altogether over 9 yards per carry, so it's hard to keep these guys from making a
Pretty
first
impressive.
down.
And they're going to bring the chains out after the first play from scrimmage and see whether Devis picked up that first down. He indeed did. The Wildcats setting the tone here from the opening play with a first down right off the bat. We've got the Colgan Panthers. Looks like what, a 5-2 setup there, or there's something a little different?
52 defense. They've got their corner rolled up tight to the tight end side.
On the give to the fullback that time.
That's a play that's went for a lot of yards this year, Stan. Against Garden Plain, the first round of the playoffs, Colin Namoka had 2 carries for over 150 yards. The first carry of the game went for 82 yards. We stopped him on 3 plays. He came right back and got another 69-yard touchdown run. So
we're looking for Devis, I guess. Second down and a long 1, maybe 2. High formation. And Devis gets it over the left side this time and picks up the first down across midfield.
This is something that Webb loves to do. He likes to come out on that opening possession and eat up some clock and just march it right down the field and hopefully get 8 points. So let's see what the Wildcats can do here.
Well, they know how to run the clock down. And I would imagine we're going to see much of this ground attack all afternoon long by the Wildcats. Hickel brings in the line one more time, 1st and 10, right at the Panther 45-yard line. And once again, it's Colin Homolka. A 17-yard pickup that time. And another Wildcat first down.
Well, you can see why so many yards are gained on the ground. Did you see the hole that opened up right there for Homolka on that handoff right up the middle? That trap play is such an excellent play.
Well, I'll tell you, that interior line, Howard, for the Wildcats just blows.
Doing a great job
the team
out
off
there.
the ball. They really are. 1st and 10. Wildcats going to give it the other way this time. Kip Krassinger.
You know, the Wildcats got so
inside,
many weapons that they can throw at you, Stan.
Right at the,
well, and
where are they going to mark it here? Just about the 10-yard line for the 1st and 10.
excellent job of play calling. As that time they had pounded away and then came back with a little misdirection play and set up perfectly. Great blocking scheme and another big first down.
So many different weapons. Last year you saw Kip Cannell pound it, but now you don't know who's going to get the ball.
They're 1st and 10 just outside the Panther 10-yard line as Homolka gets it on this first down call. Excuse me, that was David Devis, wasn't it? That wasn't Homolka.
It's hard to see from the field, let alone up here, Stan.
Devis on the carry that time, a couple of yards. We'll call it 4 yards. 3rd down now and 6. They can make a first down barely before they get it in the end zone. Hickel under center. And Homolka tied up that time as the Panther defense stiffens, getting close to that end zone. And for the first time, a 3rd down play for the Wildcats,
Big play here, Stan.
Third down.
Big play
Yes, it
here
is,
with
Howard.
They usually run David Devis. Let's see what happens here. Homoka's going to take it right in.
Homolka waltzes into the end zone, and the Wildcats are on top 6-0.
What an impressive drive in this first possession for Claflin. And now, I hadn't seen Claflin this year, but Dave, they're everything you said they were on the ground.
I tell you, like I said, we got so many options we can run. You know, if you come in saying you're going to stop David Devis, who's got over 1,800 yards for the season, you're in trouble if that's what you're looking at, because you'll hand off the ball to Colin Homoka or Kip Kreisinger, or you see a naked bootleg out of Dustin Hickel, and you just can't stop him.
And there's the 2-point conversion. David Devis through the left side, and Claflin has an early 8-0 lead.
A 68-yard drive, I believe, by Claflin, and very, very impressive.
That's one of the few things that has haunted us a little bit, has been that 2-point conversion. Those are big when you get to the playoffs, and the Wildcats have come up with it against Atwood in here, and it makes people change their outlook toward us.
Well, especially in that game against Atwood last week, there was some concern at one point for the Wildcats, even though folks in the stands may not have thought so. But having those 2-point conversions can make a difference, especially in a tight ball game. And we have not seen what the Pittsburgh Colgan Panthers have to do on offense, or what they can do on offense. We've heard a lot about them. We know they've got a pretty balanced attack, Howard.
They like to put the ball in the air. They've got an excellent quarterback who last week, Neil Smith, had a brilliant Friday. He completed 9 of 12 passes, 203 yards, and as you look at the Colgan Panthers, they're not as big as Claflin, but they do have some speed.
Okay, who is going to kick it off for the Wildcats, David?
Number 73, Keith Staudinger. He's been the top kicker for the Wildcats. And
just a sophomore, but already at 290.
he started at center last year. He did one heck of a job.
And Joe Taylor makes the return for the Panthers out across the 20-yard line.
Joe Taylor's a good one. Last week in the semifinal game, Taylor rushed for 147 yards and a touchdown as the Panthers were 27-7 winners over Centralia.
That wasn't an easy game, despite the score. Centralia had a whale of a team this year. Nick Smith brings the Panthers on their opening possession of the state title game. He's going to go back to pass on the first play. And he lofts it over the head of his intended receiver, Russ Wachter. Incomplete.
Colgan tried to run a little screenplay that time, and it was well defended by the Claflin Wildcats.
And an attempt at a hurry-up offense here by the Panthers. Smith looks like he's calling a play right at the line of scrimmage, or might have called two plays in the original huddle. He's back to pass quickly this time, one more time, and he finds the receiver this time out across the left side. Jimmy Van Beesler, the tight end, a senior, makes the catch and may indeed have a first down as well. He does. Out across the 35-yard line. We'll call it the 37. And the Panthers in that hurry-up offense one more time. Claflin is ready for him on defense. And Smith going back to pass for the third straight time here. And he finds Van Beesler again right across the middle, across the 45-yard line, and another Panther first down.
Boy, and that was set up so well because as he rolled to his right, the receiver from the left side just found a little pocket in the middle, and Smith delivered a strike.
Smith delivered that with Longmont nearly in his face, so that was quite a strike. If the Wildcats have any weaknesses at all, it's against the passing game, so we'll see. We'll see what happens on this first drive.
Smith hands it off this time.
There's that rushing defense that the Wildcats have. They give up 1 yard per carry all year long.
Boy, I don't think they got one there.
No gain on that first down. That was their first running play. Brett Thompson in for one play to make that carry, and 2nd and 10 now from the Panther 47.5, something like that.
This is that bend, no break defense that the
Here comes
Wildcats
Smith.
have.
Back to pass one more time, and he finds the receiver that time. Running back Russell Walker out of the backfield, trying to set up a screenplay of sorts, and gets it into, maybe not into Wildcat territory just yet, David. Looks like they're just short.
You know,
Well, actually, they lost yards on that play. I'm not looking at the right line marker there at the 45. That did lose a couple of yards on that play.
I'm surprised, Stan, and how Pittsburgh has come out and thrown the screen pass. I'm concerned why they're not going downfield right away against the
A big
Wildcats.
third down, and here comes Smith out gunning one more time. And he finds his receiver number 44, Adam Duncan, the senior split end.
That was a bad break on his part because he easily could have picked up a first down, but he just couldn't get his footing when he landed. So we'll see if Pittsburgh is going to punt the ball away here.
Well, it's a fourth down and just about 5 yards. And I would imagine they're going to send the punt team in. They are in Wildcat territory.
Number 1, Dustin Hickle is going to go back.
Jimmy Van Beesler into attempt to punt.
You know, a lot of people get concerned to see your starting quarterback back returning punts, but when you're looking
Dustin
at
Hickle's going to let it go into the end zone.
when you're looking at one of the best punt returners in the league this year, probably in the state of Kansas, he's averaging 18 yards a return. So you just about have to leave him back there and take your chances.
Well, Dustin's done a great job fielding those punts this season, like you say, and the Wildcats, although they had a tendency to bend a little bit with the passing attack of the Panthers that time, they didn't break, and 1st and 10 from the 20 now. The Wildcats on their second possession here in this 2-1A state title game. Hickle under center and gives the ball right up the gut to that fullback,
Cullen Homolka.
Cullen Homolka.
That's that little quick trap, and boy, it's devastating. Homolka has a lot of power, but surprising speed out of that fullback spot.
Well, that offensive line of the Wildcats just opening gigantic holes. Any one of us could carry the ball through there, it looks like.
You know, on that opening possession for Pittsburgh, Claflin didn't do much blitzing, but if you see him get up by 2 touchdowns, you're going to see that change quite a bit. So we'll see what happens on this drive.
Now here comes Justin Hickle on a quarterback keeper around the right side on first down, and he crosses the 40-yard line to about the 43.
There's another option for the Wildcats, that running quarterback. When you've got 3 guys that can carry the ball for 7 or 9 yards per carry, and then the quarterback goes around, gets 7 or 8 himself.
You bet.
It makes it tough to stop.
Hickle on an 8-yard pickup. That's his first carry of the day, and he had a touchdown or 2 last week against the Buffaloes. 2nd down and 2 now. Wildcats in an I formation. Hickle, he sets them and gives the ball to Homolka up the middle, across midfield, and now across the Panther 45-yard line.
There's the top
Another
plow
first
boy.
down.
Talk about a plowboy, number 46, Cullen Homolka. A lot of times this season you see Colin running down the field with 2 or 3 guys hanging on to him saying, fall down, please, my parents are watching, please.
Yeah, exactly. He gets those knees high in the air. Well, another first down for the Claflin Wildcats. They're racking up the first downs this afternoon. And here goes Dustin Hickle around the left side this time. And he's going to be real close to another first down.
You talk about a determined ball player, Stan. That's one of the most determined high school football players I've seen in my life. Last year, I don't know if you were at the game up at Stockton, on 4th and 4 in overtime, he took the naked bootleg around the left side and actually flipped over the defender to win the ball game.
Yes, it was a play that the folks up in the Mid-Continent League will remember for a long time. Another first down for the Wildcats. They're racking them up as often as they want. It looks like Debus this time. He goes off tackle, and he's near yet another first down for David Debus.
There's a guy, Stan, if you hit him, you better hang on to him and bring him down, because once he gets hit, he's looking for another 3 or 4 yards, and that's how you get that high average. He just keeps digging and falls forward for another 2 or 3 yards. It just makes that second down all that much easier to get, but the Wildcats pick it up here.
Well, Howard, that running attack we've heard about certainly is all that it was billed to be.
Well, Dave mentioned 9 yards per carry, and you're seeing it again today.
1st and 10 now. Wildcats at the Panther 23. And Debus this time off the right side and gets down near the 10-yard line. He's going to be short of a first down this time.
You know, the Pittsburgh Panthers are just facing that 245-pound per man line, and that's a match in itself, I tell you.
I was just watching, Dave, as you see Claflin fire out, Colgan players are just being flat.
Yeah.
There wasn't anybody standing up. They were all on the ground.
It'd be tough to tell your guy that, hey, you're going to be lining up today against 6'7", 292-pound Matt Lomas. Just hold your ground. So it's tough, and you can't double team anybody. You got Sean Steiner, you got Keith Staudinger, you got John Staudinger. You got guys that are just pushing people all over the field. And
Debus just short of that first down. You see the chain gang out, and they've had a first down, I think, in the last 3 or 4 plays, but just narrowly missing. Yet another first down on that run by Debus at the, we'll call it the 14-yard line. Actually, it's the 13-yard line, 2nd and inches. And let's see what Greg Webb has up his sleeve this time. Homolka right up the gut. And the first down.
Pittsburgh Panthers did a good job that time. They picked up that fullback trap and got Homolka. That's where you got to get him. You got to get him around the ankles, because if you hit him in the thighs, he'll just keep rolling right over you.
Well, we saw in that first little 3-yard touchdown run, he just stepped gingerly into the end zone.
Impressive thing, he's only a junior.
Yeah.
They're going to have to deal with him again next year.
He's already a 3-year starter. He was doing that as a freshman, so this is nothing new to him.
Here goes Debus this time up the middle. And he is stopped short of the 5-yard line.
Well, that's a devastating play. They use that little divide play. And, against a 5-2, if that backer makes a mistake, it's a big play. You see it again there.
Well, if the Wildcats get on the scoreboard again here before the end of the first quarter, it looks like they certainly could. It's going to put the Panthers in a hole, but with that passing attack, anything's possible. Dustin Hickle. 2nd down. And David Debus fighting his way right near the end zone. He may have picked up a first down.
David made a nice sidestep there at the beginning and got around that defender that had got through. And
it was a first down. 1st and goal now at the 1. Just inside the 1-yard line.
If the Wildcats can hang on to the ball today and not turn it over, they had 3 turnovers in the first half up at Atwood, and that caused us a little concern. But they've hung on to the ball so far, and if they do that, it just makes it a long day for the defense.
1st and goal. Wildcats. And Dustin Hickle tries to take it himself on a quarterback keeper, and I don't believe he got in.
Colgan did a nice job of stuffing the middle that time.
The interior of the line there, muscled up.
I tell you, my hat's off to those guys that are giving up 50, 60, 70 pounds per man coming in here, and they're willing to go in there and say, hey, if you're going to go, you're going to go through us. So they're doing a great job.
2nd goal. And Homolka takes it in from the 1.
But you can't stop the plowboy.
Colin Homolka, his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. A 1-yard dive that time.
This is really an impressive Claflin team. I've had the opportunity this year to do Hayes play-by-play for the Hayes High Indians, and we've seen teams from Liberal and Salina Central, and pretty powerful teams. And I'll tell you what, this Claflin Ball Club is impressive.
Well, they're going to line it up for another 2-point conversion. They're on top 14-0, looking for a couple more here, and Dustin Hickle looked like he's going to call a timeout.
Yeah, that was a good timeout by Dustin. There was a little miscommunication between him and Webb. So
Coach Webb coming out.
You can't
has
take
a few
those
choice words here.
If you're a little in doubt, call a timeout. There's no sense taking it to the locker room with you. Call a timeout and get a 2-point conversion here, and it changes their offense, because a lot of teams come in with a good kicker. You know, we've always gone for 2, but we've faced a lot of teams with a good kicker, and they know we go for 2, and that just changes their whole ball game. They'll come in here and they'll try to go for 2, and that gets them discouraged when they don't make it. And we've seen so many teams change their offense and change all sorts of things, get away from things that have been working for them all year long. But, I think they make a big mistake doing that.
Now, what do you think Coach Webb is telling them there? I always like how Webb comes out on the field to meet with the players as opposed to having them come to the sideline. What's the story there?
He's
Dave?
telling them exactly the same thing. Guys, these two-point conversions are big. You know, you miss this, and Pittsburgh can come down and score 2 touchdowns with their kicker, and they tie it up.
You miss this, and you'll be running laps after the game, whether we win or lose. Okay, looks like Webb's got his charges lined out on what they're going to do. And Dustin Hickel has called the play.
If someone's missed their block, I'll guarantee it. He just told them about it right there.
Now, this is an interesting looking lineup there as Debus takes the pitch and gets the 2-point conversion. Little doubt that was going to go to the left side. Homolka and a couple of others lined up over there facing.
You know, the Wildcats have done 2 things here so far in their opening possessions.
Not facing the line of scrimmage, actually.
They've done 2 things that I like seeing so far. One, they've hung onto the ball. 2, they've been penalty free. So in the last few games, we've had a lot of holding calls and some clippings, and that hurts you when you got to bring it back, and even if you're a strong running team. So. And
I think the third thing they've done is sent Colgan a message. We're going to run the football. We're going to run it right at you. You're going to have to stop us if you want to be in this game.
You know, that's one thing that the Pittsburgh Colgan coach said in one of the articles was the thing they have the most trouble with is people running the ball right at him. So he pretty much is looking at that today.
Uh-oh. Well, we've seen a 68-yard Wildcat drive, now an 80-yard drive. And with 2:48 left here in the opening period of play, the Colgan Panthers find themselves down 16-0.
You know, one thing I think we're going to see out of Pittsburgh now is getting away a little bit from that screen pass and just trying to throw the ball downfield. They'll have some luck doing that. The Wildcats are going to bend a little bit. So,
well, I think one of the reasons they set that screen pass up is they know that Claflin's going to come after them, and they're trying to send Claflin a message that hey, we want to slow down that blitz when it comes.
Staudinger with.
One of the things the Wildcats do on defense a lot is they keep Colin Amoka, one of the best rushers and best tacklers in the league. They keep him floating across the middle, so that screen pass is going to hurt him today.
That was Micah Ealing who picked up the short kickoff and downed it just short of the Panther 35-yard line, where they'll have it 1st and 10. And I would imagine, gentlemen, we're going to see the Panthers go right back to the air. Their second possession of the state title game. Smith telling his wide receiver, Van Beesler, to go a little further, a little wider, and Van Beesler running into Wildcat territory, and they pass well over his head.
I tell you, he took a hit right after he threw that from number 94, Aaron Hickley. And there's a guy, folks, that has played a couple of good ball games prior to this. He had a big game against Sacred Heart and even a bigger one against Atwood. Atwood ran a lot of trick plays at us, a lot of reverses, and Aaron Hickley kept it all inside, and there was Evan Beck and Colin Amoka and John Staudinger just to put the stop to him.
2nd and 10 now for the Panthers. Wachter and Beesler lined up wide left in the.
It's what I thought. The St. Mary's Colgan Panthers are really concerned with that rush at Claflin. That time you saw a draw play.
Yes, indeed.
They're trying to reach in that bag of tricks and stop the pressure some.
Well, Joe Taylor didn't pick up anything. Actually lost a yard or so.
I tell you, that's a good play that he could run. You know, when you got a line like ours that over pursues, sometimes that trap can go for 10, 15, 20 yards. So
a big third down play here.
They really have to be on their toes.
He's going to go into the shotgun formation, Smith is. We've got a flag on the play, and the pass is complete, just short.
I think we're going to have a holding call against Pittsburgh.
Wildcat territory, and there certainly could be a hold considering where the flag was thrown. Let's see what they call here.
Obviously,
pass
the timing
completed
he
to
had to
Adam
throw.
Duncan on the far sideline there. And that will nullify the first down.
That was a big break for the Wildcats, but obviously the time that he had to throw, there was obviously something going on in there, and they threw the flag. It was holding.
Referee Don Dawes gonna march it off here.
Well, there's 1:57 left in this first quarter. Claflin leading 16-0, and I just can't tell, both of you, how impressed I am with these Claflin Wildcats. They a well-rounded football team.
Yeah, this is a familiar position we've been in all year long. The Wildcats have scored 218 points in the first quarter alone this year.
Third down and a country mile for the Colgan Panthers, and Smith's going to roll left this time, looking for a receiver downfield, and
great defensive play that time.
He had a pass receiver.
That was a great play by number 88. Excuse me, Stan, that was a great play by number 88, P.J. Stiles. He got burned a couple of times up at Atwood, and I know Coach Webb got on him about it, and he sticks with him. You know, if you're going to fall off the horse, get back in there in this defense, because Webb's not going to let you come to the sideline and hold your head down. He's going to make you stay out there and play it. And what an excellent play there.
He was the white knight on the right horse that time, I'll tell you. Nice defensive play. And
well, and if he hadn't have been, that was 6 points.
Yes,
it would have
indeed.
been.
Yes, indeed. And the Panthers going to kick it away one more time. Van Beesler with a wobbly kick that's going to go out of bounds just inside the Wildcat 40-yard line, where the defending state champion, two-time defending state champions, will take it over for their third possession here in this first quarter of the state title game.
You know, one of the things you don't read a lot about in the paper, Stan, is we have scored 618 points this year, but 446 of those were scored in the first half. We play our JV the second half, 9 out of 11 games this year, 12 games, so.
Wow.
They always ask you where Claflin reloads. That's where it is.
And I would imagine they're just going to keep grinding it out. That's what they've been doing all year. Hickel on the give to Devis. Across the left side, across midfield. And he continues. He breaks a couple of tackles. And finally brought down just inside the 25-yard line of the Panthers.
But we've got a couple of yellow
yes, we do.
flags on the ground.
I think it's all going to be brought back the way it looks on the faces of the Wildcats. So.
Now that's the first flag that could go against Claflin today.
There's those holding calls that we've had trouble with, so we hope the Wildcats don't turn to that, so they seem to bounce back pretty well.
Has to be a thrill for these kids to come in here, play on Lewis Field Stadium on the turf.
And we've got some great weather. They've had a couple of title games here over the years where we've had some freezing rain and things like that. And I think another school down in the Pittsburgh area, Frankfurt, I believe, played up here a couple of years ago in a freezing drizzle and actually picked up a win that day. But we've got nice weather today despite a little bit of a swirling wind.
Yeah, the Wildcats know all about Frankfurt. They played them here last year, and Frankfurt was a tough ball club.
First down and a long way to go for the first down for the Wildcats. And Devis goes on the right side this time and picks up part of the penalty yardage.
You know, 1st and 20, a lot of coaches would change up what they're doing to get those yards back, but Webb has a lot of confidence in that front line, and why not? They're averaging 245 pounds per man. So.
Second down at about 17. That weight advantage is going to tire you out by the end of the day, I'll tell you. Tire out the opponent, that is, as Cullen Homolka gets back to the original line of scrimmage.
Well, so far, the only thing that's been able to stop the Claflin Wildcats on the ground is the penalty.
Just short of the original line of scrimmage, actually. Third down, and considering what the Wildcats did on their second drive today, where the majority of their plays went for first downs, they should be able to pick up another first down. Let's see what happens here. We've got a timeout, though, with 44 seconds remaining in the first quarter. And Claflin on top of the Colgan Panthers, 16-0.
You know, the Wildcats are looking at 3rd and 10, and one of the best kids in the state and picking up a first down on third down is number 1, Dustin Hickel, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see that naked bootleg, and that thing can kill you for about a 70-yard touchdown run if they don't watch out. So.
You know, we want to thank the folks at KMA Productions for their equipment and their team for being on hand, making this broadcast possible. KMA Productions, an award-winning television production company out of Hays, Kansas. They do a little bit of everything with video and television and commercials, you name it. So I want to thank KMA Productions for making this telecast possible this afternoon. Third down and just over 10 yards to go for the Wildcats. And Homolka is going to grind it out.
An effort by Homolka.
Right up the gut. He didn't stop churning those legs until he reached just about the first down marker. Let's see where they spot the ball. Just short of the first down, and I'll bet you Greg Webb's going to go for it here with a 16-point lead as we approach the end of the first quarter and the clock ticking down here. Let's see if they get another play off. We're down to the final 11 seconds in this first quarter.
This is a big play for Pittsburgh. They need to stop the Wildcats here.
Debus, and he's going to break a long one. 52 yards.
You've seen that happen so many times, Stan, where a defense comes up and wants to stop you on a short 4th and inches. And I tell you, one of the Wildcats can burn you really fast.
On the final play of the first quarter, too.
Debus did a great job that time. He popped into the hole. It wasn't there, so he popped outside and then just turned on the afterburners, and he was gone.
I tell you, I got to go back to that 3rd and 10 and hand it to Webb to go right up the middle, right at him, even though he had 10 yards to pick up, and go with Colin Homolka. And that kid, I tell you, once he keeps his feet, it's tough to bring him down. So hand it to Webb, just keep pounding it right at him, no matter what the 3rd down situation is.
Well, that penalty, obviously, Howard didn't hurt him too badly.
It sure did.
They're going to go for 2 one more time, as you might imagine. 22-0. First quarter has just ended. And Debus, who carried for the touchdown, goes to the right side this time to pick up his 3rd straight 2-point conversion. And Claflin has set the tone early and often here with a 24-0 lead at the end of one period of play.
You know, the Wildcats gave up 24 points total for the year in the first quarter, and that's what they've scored one game right here in the state championship game. So.
You know, and what's impressive to me is you have a ball club that comes in here and scores 24 points where you think, you know, a passing ball club can do that. But for a running ball club to come in and just march down the field, put 24 points on the board in the first quarter, it's extremely impressive.
Yeah, you'd expect to see that in 8-man, but when we made the switch to 11-man, none of us believed it would be anything like this, and it's been even more successful. That powerful running game that Greg Webb throws at teams.
When do they switch back to 11-man, David? Now, I know back in the. Give us a little bit of the history. They were 8-man for a number of years, and then they went to 11-man.
Claflin, throughout their history, was an 11-man football team. And in the 1986, our enrollment had dropped far enough. We had to drop to 8-man. So we stayed 8-man from 86 to 96, and then went to 11-man. And there was a little bit of flack in the community because we had a lot of success in 8-man. But I tell you what, none of us had any clue that it would be anything like this in 11-man.
Well, Keith Staudinger getting a workout today, and another low rolling kickoff. Joe Garrison gets the Colgan fans fired up here, carrying it across midfield and into Wildcat territory for the Panthers.
That was a big play for Pittsburgh. If they're going to need any lift, it's right now. So
find a way for them to get the second quarter underway here, as it is just underway.
They'll have the wind in their face.
Yes, they will. But I would imagine Smith is going to come out throwing that football. He is once again in the shotgun formation.
Homolka's going to stay back, so
he's got a receiver open, and he connects over there on the left side to the running back Russ Walker. The senior picks up approximately 8 yards on that reception. And the Panther team is as deep as they've been in Wildcat territory so far today. Second down and a long 2. And the Panthers spreading it out. They've got those wide receivers split way out near the sidelines. And they're going to give it to the running back. Russ Walker picks up the first down. Dustin Hickel in there to make the big stop at about the 26-yard line.
And an injured player on the field for Pittsburgh.
Got somebody down. Let's see who it might be. Might be one of the interior linemen. Never like to see anybody down with any kind of injury at any time, especially in a title game like this. You want everybody at full strength, and certainly wouldn't want anybody to get injured anyhow.
You know, play on this turf is an exciting thing for these guys, but it's a different playing surface, so we may see a few more injuries than we normally see.
It can be a little difficult. A lot of players don't like it, especially if they're not used to it. And still haven't got the number of the player who's down. Super crowd from both communities on hand for this ball game today, and of course a number of folks from the Ellis County area also on hand, but Claflin has probably half of Barton County up here. And
there was a sign outside of town that said, "Please shut out the lights," the last one out of town.
Yeah, I'll bet there was. Okay, we've got,
you know, talking about this turf, this is a little different turf than some of the cement type turfs, packed in sand, and actually when you're out there, it's not like some of the turf fields that you see at the major college level.
Yeah, you're right about that. It is a little softer, isn't it? Pat Scheifelbein, the junior tackle, gingerly making his way off the field. Not sure if he's got his belt rung or a leg injury or what. They were,
I tell you
looked like they were working on a leg when they were out there, but hard to tell. We'll try to get a report for you. He's taking his helmet off. It looks like he's just a little banged up in the left leg area, and probably, if at all possible, will be back out there. But that was a first down play with Russ Walker picking it up, and the Panthers are on the move now, deep in Wildcat territory, and Smith in the shotgun formation finds his receiver down near the 10-yard line. Adam Duncan, the senior split end, picks up the first down.
You know, the Wildcats are doing something that they didn't want to do. They're giving him plenty of time to throw. And that's one thing you don't want to give this Pittsburgh Panther coach or quarterback anything is time to throw the ball. He can really pick you away.
Well, he's thrown a lot of passes this season, and he's got a good receiving core.
And they're running great routes.
Walker and Van Beesler split wide to the left this time. Back under center is Smith, and he's going to dump it high into the end zone and out of the back of the end zone. Number 44, Adam Duncan, the senior wide receiver, was the intended receiver.
That was, again, a good job of defense by Claflin. Colgan was trying to throw a little fade route into the corner of the end zone, and Claflin defender, excellent job.
You know, they had a couple of wideouts to the left, but one of the things they wanted to do, I'm sure, on film was pick on number 88, P.J. Stiles. They saw Atwood do that and have some success, so P.J.'s done a great job so far.
Duncan once again wide to the right, Van Beesler wide to the left, and back in the shotgun formation for Smith. He's looking left.
As a man.
And Van Beesler's open over there, but the pass a little wide to the left, and we've got a flag down, gentlemen.
Looks like we got a holding call against the Colgan Panthers.
Not an opportune time for a holding penalty when you're deep in Wildcat territory.
This will be interesting.
Wind we talked about before may have had a little effect on that last pass because receiver was open, but the quarterback lofting the ball, I think, got a little bit too much air under it, and the wind did have an effect. Actually, against a passing, for a passing ball club, this penalty doesn't hurt you a lot.
No, gives you a little more room to work with, actually.
Exactly. I'm surprised they haven't come across the middle more. I know, but with Homoka staying back, that may be something that's just not opening up for them.
Second and 22 at about the 28-yard line.
Hook and ladder.
Hook and ladder play.
I tell you,
Joe Taylor
If Dustin Hickle hadn't stayed home, that'd have been 6 points right there.
Yes, it would have been. A nice tackle. The pass was complete to Thompson, and he flipped it off to Joe Taylor going around the left side. And
I tell you, that was beautifully executed by the Panthers.
you see teams every once in a while in the NFL and in college run that play. You don't see it too often, but it can surprise you if you don't play defense the way you're supposed to.
That's a hard play to get high school kids to do, and they did an excellent job there.
3rd down, 8. Smith looking right. He's got a host of Claflin defenders, including Mr. Lamach.
What they were trying to do again was roll to the right and then come back to the middle, and it didn't work because Claflin, with a great pass rush that time, it just no time to develop.
Well, it's hard to throw it over the Empire State Building, and you've got 3 or 4 of those fellas.
You know, Lamach has a play called the pancake. He comes through and he makes the tackle. When he gets up, he peels the quarterback off the front of his jerseys.
Okay, we've got Joe Taylor going to attempt a field goal. This will be about an 18-yard attempt, and it is going to be wide left. And I would imagine the wind might have played a factor in that one as well, as it did on that pass earlier.
I'm a little surprised they went ahead and went for the field goal down by 3 touchdowns. They were having some success throwing the ball. I think I would have taken my shot at throwing it in the end zone, but he wanted to get some points on the board. His kids are a little down right now, so who knows? We'll see what happens.
Well, that's the thing. At least get something in your favor in the point column. Wildcats, who have scored on every possession in the first period. Now we're in the second quarter. This is their first possession. 9:23 left before halftime. And they're going to have it on the 20-yard line again. Dustin Hickle lining up under center. Wildcats in the I formation, and Dustin Debus fumbles, and Colgan recovers.
Well, that's that turnover you were talking about, Dave, earlier. That time you saw it happen. Pittsburgh now, or St. Mary's Colgan, set up very well at the 15-yard line.
First and 10.
Somebody missed their block, and Webb's going to be all over that. So let's see how tough the Wildcats defense stiffen up here.
Well, let's see if Colgan goes right for the end zone. A lot of times on a sudden turnover play, you'll see that. There they go.
He's got a receiver open out there. Yes, indeed. Adam Duncan, the senior, split in. They had that play called earlier.
You know, that's one of the things I'm sure they wanted to do was pick on number 88, P.J. Styles, and he'd been doing a good job up till then, but they just lofted it right over his head. It was an excellent catch in the end zone.
Now that missed field goal is big, actually, because with the 2-point conversions of Claflin, that would have really helped.
Yes, indeed. Good point.
Yeah, that field goal would have brought them within 2 drives. Now they have to score 3 touchdowns still to take the lead. So, yeah, that field goal was really big now.
Now a 15-yard touchdown pass from the quarterback.
9 minutes and 11 seconds left in this first half with Claflin leading 24-7. And, boy, we've been treated to a good ball game.
Yeah, we really have. They have shown us a little bit of everything in this first half. It's been a lot of fun. Certainly entertaining for those who drove all the way from whether you're coming from Barton County or way down in southeast Kansas. It's certainly fun to see your hometown team play. It's also exciting to see a good ball game. And some of these games late in the season, they have some mismatches, but I think we're going to see a whale of a finish before this one's over.
You know, those Panther football players have won 11 games this year, and they've beat some pretty good, solid teams. You know, they knocked up Centralia 27-7, and they were no slouch. So they're not going to bow down here to the Wildcats, even though they're down 24-7.
Dave, you were talking about Claflin people coming up to this game, and as you look and see the shot we see on the screen right now, I think you're right. Everybody in town has to be here.
It'd be a good day to come over and raid Claflin, but I didn't say that.
Well, you wouldn't find much over there. They brought it all with them. And the kickoff over the head.
Boy, you can see the momentum changing just a little bit as the Colgan Panthers come out that time fired up and
a little more enthusiasm.
But like I say, they know what it takes to win ball games, and they've been to this big dance before. It's been a few years, but they know what it's all about.
South had a little trouble fielding that one, and the Wildcats, who had it down here a couple of seconds ago, will take it over 1st and 10 at their own 19-yard line. Here comes Homolka right up the gut. He's across the 40 and across midfield before he's finally ridden down.
Dave, what a great play call again. You know, when you're struggling just a little bit, you want to put the ball in the hands of the guy that can get the job done for you. And trap play again breaks big yardage.
Van Beesler and Smith finally rode him down across the midfield stripe and back in Panther territory, where the Wildcats continue to march down the field.
You know, that's one play that a lot of teams did their homework on, was that fullback trap, because it can burn you for so many yards, but it's killing the Panthers today.
Here comes Devis. The same play he fumbled on a few moments ago, and he stopped that time. The only team I've seen that really put the stop on the Claflin trap in the last couple of years was in that state semifinal game a year ago up in Stockton.
Yeah, that's right. Stockton did a good job. You know, they're a big ball club. They matched up with us man for man, and it was a tough ball game. We played up there where it had rained the night before, and the field was slick, and it was just a ground attack.
But a big overtime win. 2nd down and 8 now. Wildcats just inside Panther territory at the 46, and we've got a flag.
Looks like we got an equipment penalty on the Wildcats.
Is that what it is? I believe you're right. That'll march them back 5 yards. So far, penalties haven't seemed to hurt the Wildcats today.
He pointed to something in one of the interior linemen. I don't know if they had their chin strap down or face or mouthpiece out or what it was.
Something like that. Now they're back in Wildcat country now, just inside the 50-yard line.
Well, it's important for the Wildcats here to come
2nd
down
and 13.
and march it down. There's that
Here
keeper.
comes Pickle. He's across midfield. We've got flags down one more time. Several flags, in fact. And it's the initial indication against the Wildcats holding. So 2 straight penalties on the Cats, and it'll remain 2nd down if they don't lose the down on this one.
You know, that's very uncharacteristic of a Dave Webb coach football team. They'll make a mistake or two, but not 2 in a row to kind of put themselves in a hole.
And that equipment penalty was just sheer carelessness.
Exactly. You know, I noticed the Wildcats got a little lax when they got up 24-0, and I had mentioned they had played a mistake-free ball, but you get a little lax up here, you know, there's going to be teams cause you to make some mistakes.
Well, it's a long way before this game is over.
One of the things the Wildcats got to keep remembering is the Pittsburgh Colgan Panthers got here by no easy trail.
2nd down and 20. Wildcats give it the middle to Devis this time, and he breaks a couple of tackles and is back into Colgan territory, just short of the 40-yard line, but 42.
There was a big hole opened up on that right side, and David just took advantage of that.
That's got to be so discouraging for Colgan. You know, they back you up. You've got 2nd and 20, and now all at once it's 3rd and 3.
And it's just a basic play that they're running right at you. It's nothing tricky. We're just putting it right at you, and we're going to blow up a hole. So
17 yards right up the gut. And the Wildcats face a 3rd down and a long 3 now from the Panther 42-yard line. Hickel on the give to Devis right up the middle one more time, and he has definitely got the 1st down across the 35-yard line.
There's those extra yards that David always picks up. You know, someone hit him before he got to the 1st down marker, and he just kept going. He knows he's got to get the job done.
You know, the thing that impresses me about Greg Webb, the head coach, is he stays with his game plan. It doesn't matter down and distance. He's going to do what got him here, and it pays off. Big dividends.
The guy has more nerves and a lot more of his fingernails left than I have. I tell you, he just sticks right in there, and he's got so much confidence in his team.
1st and 10, Wildcats from the Panther 35, and here comes the fullback, number 44, Kip Krassinger. carries it right down to the goal line.
I tell you, Stan, a little history on that guy. He's nursing an injured shoulder. He's going to have surgery after this season's over with. He separated that shoulder against Sacred Heart and was out the rest of the game. Came back against Atwood and scored a huge, huge touchdown to break a 14-14 tie. There's a kid just playing with a lot of heart, I tell you.
Nice to see him get in the ball game. He's carried the ball a couple of times today, and both times very effectively, and that time right down first and goal now for the Cats at the Panther 1.
One of the best blocking backs in the state of Kansas, number 44, Kip Kreisinger.
A senior, 190 pounds. And here come the Cats looking for more. And Homolka right up the middle, his third touchdown of the day. A 1-yard touchdown dive for Cullen Homolka. And the Cats have 30 points on the board here in the first half, looking for 2 more when they line up for the conversion, gentlemen.
And we still have 6 minutes left in the first half.
I tell you, one of our players this week had picked up somebody on the internet that had forecasted that the Wildcats would lose 31-30. So we hope this 30 points is no jinx right here.
Yeah, exactly. Here comes Devis on the pitch, and he easily walks into the end zone. 32-7 with exactly 6 minutes left in this first half. The Claflin Wildcats are moving ever closer to their 3rd straight state championship.
You know, that's big to see, Stan. We've scored 4 touchdowns, and all 4 touchdowns we got the 2-point conversion. You know, there's another touchdown right there. When you can make those 2-point conversions at 4 touchdowns, there's 8 points. So those are so huge.
Well, it's got to be mentally devastating to the Colgan Panthers. They got on the board, had some enthusiasm following the turnover, got the touchdown, and if they could have held Claflin there, we might have seen a pretty exciting end of this first half.
Well,
now,
you know, when you
back in the hole again.
Talk about dynasties, you think of Lawrence at 6A and you think of Liberal at 5A, and from what I've seen here, Claflin's a dynasty. These kids are just an outstanding, impressive football team, and been that way for a number of years. And if you look at that sideline, it looks like it's going to continue to be that way.
Well, you know, the Wildcats, Coach Webb has won 111 games in the 1990s and only lost 9. So what a record by that guy. He knows how to win the ball games. He knows how to get his team fired up, and he knows how to get them prepared.
Well, and you can see the mutual respect. The kids respect him, and he respects them. Has a lot of confidence in his kids.
Here comes Staudinger, one of his best kickoffs of the day. He's had several. Russ Wachter across the 20 and across the 30-yard line where he's brought down.
That time you
Evan
saw
Beck in there to make the stop on the kickoff.
Homolka kind of over pursuing that time. He's a fiery kid. He wanted to come down and pancake somebody.
You know, him and Evan Beck have just done an outstanding job this year, and I hate to tell the opponents, but both of those guys are just juniors, and they're leading the team this year with 14 tackles per game each.
That's scary.
That's big when you're part of a defense like this.
Well, here come the Colgan Panthers. Nick Smith has them spread out wide on both sides, and he's going to give it to Walker right up the middle for little or no gain on that first down play. That was a little surprise, but maybe that was the idea.
You know, right at the bottom of that pile is number 54, John Staudinger, up at Atwood last week in the 3rd quarter. He had a badly sprained ankle, but he elected to stay in the game. And I tell you, he hit a running back in the 4th quarter of that ball game that I didn't know if that guy was going to get up or not. There's another kid playing with a lot of heart. He just plays hard each game and each play.
2nd and 10 now. The Colgan Panthers from their 30. Smith. A pass out to the right flat to Adam Duncan. And once again, defensed very nicely by the Wildcats.
I'm still a little surprised, Stan, that Pittsburgh's not trying to run downfield more with those receivers. They've got some speed and they've got great hands, and we've had a little trouble against that. But I'm just surprised they're throwing the short passes that they are.
Well, you know, Wachter's got some moves, and good defense there by Heckley and Homolka to stop him.
One of the things that we were looking for in this ball game was for Smith to run the ball more, and we haven't seen that much out of him, so we'll see what happens.
3rd and 10. Here goes Smith rolling right. We've got a flag down. Homolka's in the backfield trying to stop him, and finally Smith is tackled behind the line, and I would imagine we're going to see holding once again on Pittsburgh. We'll see what they call.
You know, we've watched Dustin Hickle offensively at the quarterback position, but I've been watching him from that free safety position, and he can play at the next level at that position. He's quite a free safety.
I tell you, you talk about a kid with a good head on his shoulders, and that's number 1, Dustin Hickle. He knows how to lead a team. Last year, he didn't start on offense, if you can believe that or not. He switched in off at quarterback with Aaron Heckley, but when the big games came, they brought him in, and he made some huge, huge plays. One of those against the Ness City Eagles out there, and he's just turned into one super, super ball player.
Claflin declines the penalty, and it's going to bring up 4th down and long, and we've got Hickle and Evan Beck ready to receive the punt from Van Beesler. The ball hits right on the 50-yard line and actually takes a Claflin bounce just short of midfield, where the two-time defending state champion Cats will take it over 1st and 10.
Boy, and, you know, for Colgan, now you've given Claflin a short field again, and what a nightmare.
You know, they haven't been able to stop the Wildcats so far. The only stop was the fumble down here, so if the Wildcats march it down and score here, it's going to be a long afternoon for the Panthers.
4:07 left here until halftime.
Well, you said it. Excuse me.
32-7 lead for the Wildcats. Go ahead, sir.
Dave, you said it earlier. The Claflin Wildcats have so many weapons. When you look at that backfield, and you've got Debus back there, and then you've got Homolka, and then all at once out of nowhere, Kresinger comes in, and now you got your quarterback that can run too. I mean, I don't know how a defensive coordinator would plan to stop these guys.
And I'll tell you, that's one thing, Howard, you have that we may not even see the rest of the day is our passing game. That's one thing that's never talked about. We hardly ever have to use it, but Dustin he can throw the ball very well. He's thrown 46 passes this year for 578 yards. That's what most quarterbacks get in a season. That their passing games they're top notch.
Now, correct me. Has he thrown a pass today?
No.
I didn't think he had.
Webb came up here 2 years ago against Centralia, and he didn't throw a pass all day long, and we won that game 22-12. It was a close game. I doubt that we'll see any passing today as long as that rushing game is doing what it's doing so far.
When you're picking up an average of, I would assume they have to be averaging 14, 15 yards a carry, maybe more. This has been incredible.
Well, we had a timeout. We're ready to go back to action here from Lewis Field Stadium on the campus of Fort Hays State University. Just over 4 minutes left until halftime, and the Claflin Wildcats have it 1st and 10 at their own 48-yard line. And here comes
Look at that hole.
Mr. Debus one more time, and he's good enough for the 1st down. David Debus.
What's really impressive is look at the big guys from the right side of the line that are downfield blocking.
Exactly.
Incredible.
Number 76, Matt Lomich. A lot of times this year, you'd look up and he's 10, 15 yards down the field blocking the free safety. So the guy doesn't quit at the line of scrimmage.
Well, you just saw that happen with number 73, Staudinger. He was down there after that free safety from the right side. Play went to the left.
1st and 10, Cats from their own, from the Panther 41.
We see a pass.
There we go. Hickle can air it out. And the pass is incomplete, intended for Aaron Heckley that time. But over his head, very well defended by the Panthers. Joe Taylor and number 12, Brett Thompson, out there defensively for Colgan.
Once again, I thought that was something we might not see all day long, but what a good time for it. 1st down, no one's expecting it. Send your guys downfield and let's see what can happen.
Well, that's why I brought
somebody
it up,
up front, up top, saw something there too. You might look for a tight end coming underneath because there was no coverage at all in the underneath coverage with the tight end.
2nd down, Debus over the right side. He stopped once. Pardon me, that is not
Evan Beck.
David. Evan Beck, indeed. Evan Beck.
I tell you, there's a backup running back right there. And
Yes,
I tell you,
indeed.
a strong, strong runner. You know, I mentioned these juniors, number 30, Evan Beck, number 46, Colin Amoka, and the rest of those juniors. They have not lost a football game in their entire high school career, JV or high school. A junior varsity is undefeated for 6 straight years this year.
Wow. 3rd down and short, just about the 31-yard line for the Wildcats. And there comes Debus one more time, picking up another 1st down, and reaches the 25-yard line in Panther country with 2:55 left until halftime.
Stan, if I'm not mistaken, Claflin has scored in every possession. Is that correct?
Except for the fumble.
The fumble.
But they came right back, and they had an 80-yard drive to start the ball game. Pardon me, a 68-yard drive, followed by that 80-yard drive. And then Debus on a 52-yard touchdown run. And then Homolka a 1-yard dive following the 30-plus yard run by Krasinger. 1st and 10. Here come the Cats around the right side. Kip Krasinger one more time.
Big play.
I tell you what, a way to turn it in by Kip Krasinger. He didn't keep floating out to the side. When he turned it in, he turned it on, and he ran right over I believe it was number 12.
Yeah, it was. Brett Thompson over there, who's playing some good defense out there, but when you got a guy motoring around the right side and running over people, you get out of the way.
I tell you, the runs that he's had today, it doesn't look like he's nursing an injured shoulder at all, but I tell you, these guys really play with a lot of heart.
1st and 10 once again for the Wildcats. They've had a host of first downs today, just inside the Panther 10-yard line, about the 7. And Debus stopped. That was Krasinger, wasn't it? Debus was in there blocking.
That time,
I'm going to send you down there, David.
Claflin lined up in a robust set. That was kind of interesting. First time we've seen that this ball game, actually. Little goal line robust set.
Yeah, you don't hear that too often or see that too often.
You know, they come up with all these names that used to just be a straight T formation.
Yeah.
Now it's a robust.
There's Krasinger.
Krasinger trying to fight for the end zone. He's inside the 5 now. And Joe Taylor's been in on a lot of stops today for the Panthers and picks up the stop that time as he comes running off to the sideline. 3rd down now and goal from the 3. Wildcats up 32-7. Looking for more. They're in the old T formation. And Evan, that's Krasinger again, wasn't it?
Krasinger again.
This field has seen a lot of the robust formation as Coach Bob Cortez now in the pro ranks, head coach here for the Fort Hays State University Tigers. Ran that formation to perfection for a number of years.
Eric Scheifelbein getting up slowly after that defensive stop, and we've got a 4th down and goal. The Panthers are going to go for it. Krasinger drops the football short of the goal line, and the Panthers recover. Number 28, Joe Garrison, picks up the fumble. Krasinger going for the end zone, didn't get in.
And that's a bad break for Kip. You know, he brought the team down to where they are right there on that long run.
And he did the last time as well.
And I know Webb was wanting to get him 6 points, and it's just a bad break. But boy, you got to hand it to that Panther front line. They're facing these big guys, and they're not wanting to give up an inch. And
no, they're not.
Just keep fighting.
They can't afford to give up any more points here before halftime with 23 seconds left in the half. And I would imagine they might air one out here. Heckley.
Well, they're going to get 5 free yards here unless someone on the offensive line moves.
Aaron Heckley jumping offside that time on the left side of the Wildcat line.
I wouldn't be too surprised if I saw Pittsburgh take a knee here. I don't think they want to give Wildcats any more points, but I don't know, with nothing to lose, you might as well come out and throw it right at them.
Well, you certainly don't have anything to lose, and every second is going to count here as we wind down the first half and into the next half. They've got some room, some ground to make up as the weather warms up just slightly on a beautiful November afternoon. 1st down and 5 now. We've got a timeout called by the Colgan Panthers. That'll give us a moment to once again thank the folks at KMA Productions and cameraman Larry Calvary, who is doing a fine job today. We certainly appreciate his efforts being out here and providing these wonderful pictures for you today. Larry Calvary, man among men. And David Hickel and Howard Peters, mighty glad both of you are along Mike's side today for this state championship game here at Lewis Field Stadium. A lot of exciting state football games going on around the State today. And Smith Center Redmond and the St. Mary's Bears coming up following this 2-1A state title game today.
I tell you, this is really exciting. Your teams and your kids give you an opportunity to even come to these games, let alone sit here and do what I'm doing for the first time. So this is just a fun opportunity, and just my hats off to these kids, all of them across the state of Kansas today, who brought their fans out to a state championship game.
Well, let's see what Coach Chuck Smith has up his sleeve as we wind down the first half here. Looks like they're just going to run out the clock. Russ Wachter gets the honors to run down the clock, and it looks like the Panthers are going to call it a half and go in and prepare for the final 2 periods of this state title.
That swarming defense
battle.
that's only given up 324 yards total on the season.
Well, there you have it. That's the first half. And the defending state champions, 2-time defending state champions. Claflin Wildcats leading at 32-7 over the Colgan Panthers. Time for some halftime festivities. We have a lot of young people who have come a long way to entertain those who are here today. And we're going to enjoy watching what they do here at halftime at Lewis Field Stadium.
Ladies and gentlemen, for this afternoon's halftime entertainment, we present the Pittsburgh St. Mary's Colgan Pom-Pom Squad. Noel, Donna Kelly, Aaron Van Beekler, Kristen Wilson, Christine Kemmener, Emily Barber, Megan Bollinger, Ashley Nader, Amy Thompson, and Kaylee Mundy.
Welcome back to the second half of action here at the Class 2-1A State Championship football game. We're winding down the final seconds of the halftime festivities on a beautiful November Saturday afternoon, Lewis Field Stadium here on the campus of Fort Hays State University. I'm Stan Unruh along with Howard Peters and David Hickle, and the Claflin Wildcats lead by a score of 32-7 over the Colgan Panthers as we get this second half underway. And Howard, I'm telling you, Claflin has lived up to all the advanced billing. Well,
they certainly have, and we were talking about it at halftime, that this first half has taken a long time, and the reason for that is that Claflin just keeps making first down after first down. Of course, that stops the clock, and that's why this first half is taken as long as it has.
It has taken a long time, David. Claflin has mounted up a lot of yards on the ground and has played some pretty good defense as well.
You know, that's one thing that Coach Webb wanted to come in here and do, was just use that ground attack that's worked so successful all year long. They rushed for over 5,000 yards. That's almost 3 miles of yards this year on the ground, and it's just something that most teams haven't been able to stop. Nobody's been able to stop, and Colgan hasn't been able to do that yet today.
Let's recap what happened in the first half. The Wildcats on their first 3 possessions picked up touchdowns. Cullen Homolka had a 3-yard touchdown run on their first drive, a 68-yard drive, and Debus picked up the 2-point conversion. That made it 8-0 Wildcats. Then Homolka a 1-yard dive following an 80-yard drive, and David Debus the 2-point run. Then Debus a 52-yard touchdown run and a 2-point conversion, and that made it 24-0. Then following a Wildcat fumble, Pittsburgh picked up that fumble and took it 15 yards on a touchdown pass from Smith to Adam Duncan, the senior wide receiver. He got the point after touchdown, and then right before the half, Homolka, another 1-yard dive, followed by a Krasinger. The second half is underway.
And the Wildcats.
Tell them what happened, Howard.
Well, the Wildcats, on the kickoff, it hit a Colgan Panther, bounced up in the air, and number 30 for the Wildcats, Evan Beck, the backup running back, quickly picked up the ball, and now Claflin with great field position to start the second half.
Staudinger, those low line drive kickoffs, hit one of the Panthers right in the numbers. The ball bounced off him. Evan Beck was in the right place at the right time, and the Wildcats are right where you wouldn't want them to be if you're a Colgan fan, getting this second half underway. Now they're going to march him back about 5 yards.
I think they're going to march him back where he recovered the fumble the way it looked. That's one of the things that Staudinger does.
Apparently.
Exactly. One of the things Staudinger has done all year, when you have a stiff wind, he just kicks it straight at him. And with that big, strong leg of his, anything can happen.
32-7, 1st and 10 inside the 45-yard line of the Panthers, and here come the Wildcats on the ground one more time as they start the first half. Krasinger, who we mentioned in the first half, had that nice 30-plus yard run to set up the Cullen Homolka third touchdown of the day.
I tell you, number 70, Sean Steinert's getting a huge block on that left side, and Kreisinger's just taking advantage of it and getting some yardage downfield.
Now, Kreisinger was playing injured late last week and probably still feeling some of the effects of that this week.
And again, a 9-yard carry on first down.
2nd and 1 at the 34-yard line. And here comes Cullen Homolka right up the middle. He's across the 10 and brought down by number 18, Nick Smith, the quarterback and defensive back for the Panthers. 1st and 10 inside the 10-yard line for the Wildcats.
I tell you, number 44, Adam Duncan, got caught back there trying to pick up Homolka by himself, and there's not one guy, I don't believe, in the state of Kansas that can bring Homolka down by himself.
Not today, that's for sure. 1st and 10, 1st and goal now. Wildcats looking for more right off the start of the second half, and here comes Kreisinger, a touchdown he didn't get in the first half. He gets to start off the second half today.
That's a big touchdown by Kip Kreisinger. He's worked his tail off today, and what a reward for that young man.
Well, the senior running back gets in the end zone, much deserved, And Claflin continues to increase their lead and their dominance over the Colgan Panthers.
A 3-play touchdown drive. Impressive.
To start off the half.
And their top rusher did not touch the ball one time, so.
This one's going to the left as well, it looks like it. Hickle going for the 2-point conversion, and I'm amazed to say that they didn't get in the end zone, but is there a flag down?
I think it's holding against the Wildcats, and it's going to be
so that will
negated.
Negate any conversion anyway. And so the Wildcats finally stopped in some fashion today with a 2-point conversion that is stopped, and they have a 38-7 lead here, just less than a minute into the second half of this State 2A title game.
And how discouraging that has to be for St. Mary's. You know, they come out into the second half trying to regroup, thinking, well, we're going to get the football back, maybe march down and score. And on the opening kickoff, Claflin recovers it. 3 plays later, they're in the end zone.
Yeah, that's one of the things that this Wildcat team can do to you so much is discourage you fast. And, boy, a bad break for Pittsburgh there that they fumbled that opening kickoff. But you don't want to do that against the Wildcats. They'll make you pay in a hurry if you turn the ball over.
Well, a running ball club, 38 points in just a little over a half. That's extremely impressive.
The Wildcats are averaging, their average score this year has been 52-5. So 38 points is nothing new to them.
Another low line drive kick. Russ Wachter.
One of the things I might mention, that tackle was made by number 22, Jordan Hickle. There wasn't one senior on that kickoff team. These guys are out here getting some playing time, and there's a freshman right there making a tackle in the state championship football game. What a running back that kid's going to be in the upcoming years.
Jordan Hickle making the stop. Curtis and Robin will be proud that he got in on the state title game. Okay, Colgan Panthers have a lot of room to try to pick things up and turn things around. 38-7 deficit. And the quarterback, Mr. Smith.
And that at halftime, I had mentioned to you, Dave, I was watching Smith warm up at halftime, and I was watching his feet. And if you saw that time on film, he didn't set himself and make that throw. And part of that is you play the way you practice. And,
Very true.
You know, I think you can see some of the discouragement right now in these Colgan ball players.
And Nick Smith has the wind at his back this time. Or actually, hard to tell where that wind's blowing. Sometimes kind of a swirling wind. And the same play for Smith, and he finds his receiver that time, Adam Duncan, out on the right side.
It's kind of interesting. I think the pass rush, although that time Smith made a nice completion, but I think this kind of relentless pass rush is getting to Smith a little bit, because if you see the way he's delivering the ball, he's jumping and throwing it, not setting his feet. And, you know, credit Claflin with really kind of upsetting this passing attack.
You know, even when you complete a pass like he did in the first half and you end up on that turf, well, when you get up, you can remember that.
3rd and 2. And Smith finds a receiver over the middle that time. Russ Wachter gets it back into Wildcat territory at the 35-yard line.
I believe that ball was tipped, was it not?
It certainly looked like it was.
Kind of an opportune thing for Colgan as it went off the hands of a Claflin defender right into the hands of the receiver. He picks up good yardage.
And they're going to mark this one at the 38-yard line of the Wildcats. Wildcats up by 31 points here early in the 3rd quarter. Nick Smith looking to the left side this time, and he finds Jimmy Van Beesler.
I believe you see some younger Claflin players out there now. Number 15, Ben South, at that corner position. And, you know, one of the hallmarks of a younger player, he's going to give a lot of cushion. And, of course, experienced passing team like Colgan, they'll take advantage of that. But the neat thing is these kids are out here getting some playing time in a state championship game. And a year or two down the road, they'll be the kids leading Claflin.
Yes, indeed. Good point, Howard. Second down and a long 2 for the Panthers. Smith, straight drop back this time. He's looking for Van Beesler one more time. Van Beesler makes the catch, but there's a flag on the play. And it looks like we may have some type of interference on the Wildcats.
Well, Ben South is down there talking to the official a little bit, saying, what did I do? And what he did is he pushed off.
Certainly did, and Van Beesler, big enough to make the reception. Let's see what the official call is.
There was not a completion, I don't think,
He
Stan.
was out of bounds, you were right.
So they're going to have to take it from the line of
anyway.
scrimmage. I think what Evan Beck was saying to the referee, this is not a completion. I believe he's right.
Those referees get fired up in a state title game too. You need to bring them back down to earth sometimes. Well, we're trying to get it all sorted out on the field. The officiating crew of Don Dawes, John Miles, and
One of
James
the problems
Don,
is the
along with
people
Thomas King.
drop the chains back there. They need to let them set. And they got a little quick.
They lose their place, and then you've got a problem. They may have, in fact, the chain gang may have, in fact, thought he was in bounds with that reception.
Exactly. You know, in high school, it's not marked at the spot of the foul on that pass interference, so it'll have to be brought back from the line of scrimmage.
Well, a break for Claflin on that scenario, certainly.
You got to hand it to Pittsburgh. They're throwing the ball downfield like I really thought they would do most of the first half. They did very little of that, but they're taking advantage of those young corners, and they're throwing right at them.
Well, the officiating crew is still trying to get it all sorted out, trying to explain it to Adam Duncan, the captain down there.
And we talked a little bit about Ben South, number 15, who's now at corner for Claflin. And what's good about a game
Automatic
like this
first
is
down.
he's going to get challenged, and that's where you learn.
Exactly. You know, Ben came over from Ellsworth, I believe, is where he went to school last year. So this Wildcat football is new to him, but boy, he is fit right into this program. And next year is going to take over at starting quarterback. So quite an athlete, number 15, Ben South.
Well, playing for the Bearcats is different than playing for the Wildcats, that's for sure. Ellsworth's looking for basketballs and the wrestling mat. They're not still playing football. Automatic first down now at the 21-yard line, actually the 16-yard line.
A lot of kids out there bouncing balls right now. We're out here bouncing heads. So.
Yes, indeed. And Smith looking for a receiver in the corner of the end zone. Adam Duncan was open out there.
I think we're going to have roughing the quarterback on number 94, Aaron Heckley. That's
Dustin
sure
Hickel
what it is.
on the defense of the receiver, but Aaron Heckley got a little rough with Smith, you say.
Do you know that is having an effect on the quarterback, Smith? Again, if you watched carefully, he threw that pass off his back foot, and it's part of the reason for that is as a quarterback, you get those big guys coming at you, and it starts getting in your head. You want to deliver the ball before you really should. You saw it again there.
A lot of those technique things that worked for you just seem to fall completely out of your game.
Reminiscent of old Jim Everett, a former Purdue and LA Ram quarterback who always threw off his back foot.
We should say Smith is a good quarterback. He's
Yes, he
done
is.
really well this year.
And speaking of Smith, he takes it around the left side for the touchdown. The quarterback keeper and the junior quarterback Nick Smith in the end zone.
That's a huge play by Smith. That's only the third rushing touchdown the Wildcats have given up all year long, so I doubt he even knows how big that one was.
He's just glad to get some more points on the board. 16-yard touchdown run for Nick Smith, and now they're going to let Joe Taylor see if he can convert with the point after kick.
Well, with 9:59 left in the third quarter, the score now, Claflin 38 and St. Mary's Colgan 14.
You know, they got to be thinking back of that opening possession. If they just hadn't fumbled that and they'd taken that ball down, you'd be looking at 32-14. So, boy, mistakes can really cost you in a game like this.
Hey, that opening kickoff of the first half, I haven't seen anything quite like that in a long time. That low line drive, the kids aren't expecting that, I don't think, and it came right into that young
Well, and
man's
as Dave
midsection.
said, with that big foot of the Claflin kicker, he kicks a line drive kick anyway, and a lot of power behind it. It just caught the Colgan player kind of flat-footed. Didn't know what hit him.
Staudinger really muscles it down there. Surprised everybody. Didn't have the hands team up front or something on that. They caught him off guard.
You know, as you watch the Claflin special teams, I think part of the hallmark of a championship ball club is that they bring young players on slowly, and a great place to bring them on and teach them is on special teams. And you mentioned it before, Dave, the Claflin coaching staff has done an excellent job of getting these kids on the field via the vehicle of the special teams.
Yep. It really gives the kids a lot of experience, more than the guys would think. And just like that, number 22, Jordan Hickle, that made that tackle on that opening kickoff. And I tell you, that's big for a young kid, a freshman. That's all he's expecting to do is just stand out here and be on the turf.
Well, and what happens is that pays off for all the practice time you put in. You know, you want to get on that turf, and even one or two plays.
Taylor kicks it off for Colgan. David Debus.
Debus really impresses me. Actually, there's not a kid on this Claflin Wildcat football team that doesn't impress me. But Debus, great job, not only as a running back, but as a kick returner. So many weapons.
They're going to have it 1st and 10 now. Going to start this drive from their own 38-yard line. Wind continues to swirl here. Temperatures low to mid-50s. A little bit of sunshine on a pretty nice Saturday for state championship football in Hayes. Here comes Debus on the first carry of this drive. He's across midfield and down to the Panther 38-yard line. From the Wildcat 38 to the Panther 38.
It just seems like it's turning into a track meet on the ground for the Wildcats. That holes are being blown open. Number 76, Matt Lomach. Number 70, Sean Steiner on that left side. I tell you, those two guys, as big as they are, can blow a hole. And like you said earlier, Howard, you've looked up down the field. Those two guys are still on their feet, blocking guys down the field.
That's the most impressive thing, is the way they hustle downfield and come from the backside.
They mark it at the Panther 39. First down again for the Wildcats. And Debus on the carry one more time. And I'm telling you what, they can't bring him down.
You just saw it again. Big old Lomach out there, knocked number 44 right in his can. And the thing about Claflin is they're so well coached in the technique parts of the football game.
Got a timeout on the field.
That's one thing that Coach Webb, I read in the article this morning in the Hutch paper, is one thing that he really focused on was the technique part of the game, and you're seeing that out here today.
You know, Vince Lombardi used to say that football is a game of blocking, tackling, and running. It doesn't matter the plays you do. If you do it right, they'll work.
Those fundamentals make a big difference.
And every championship football team you see, they're very consistent. That's the thing with Claflin. They've come out here, and I assume they've done this pretty well all year. They don't change up. They run what they do, and they do it well.
You know, even when the games were close, like when Sacred Heart was within 6, and there's Homolka going up the middle.
Homolka right up the gut. How many times have you seen that in the last couple of years?
And as I was saying earlier, even when the games were close, like when Sacred Heart had us close, it was 12-6, and Atwood had tied it up in the second half, 14-14. Webb didn't do anything to change his ball game. He just said, we're going to keep doing what's got us to the state championship game for the past 2 years, and just keep going at him and running at him. And I got to hand it to him. I tell you, he's got a lot more nerves and a lot more backbone than I would ever have down there.
Just inside the 10, 1st and goal now. Wildcats looking to rack up a few more points. Dustin Hickle gives it to Debs once more.
He'll score.
Right across the left side and into the end zone. David Debus. Another touchdown, a 9-yard run that time.
And I believe that one took all of 5 plays on that drive.
We used to say our most fun at a lot of the games was come to the game and make a bet on how many plays it would take for us to score a touchdown. And most of the time we were wrong because we'd guess 4 or 5, and 1 or 2 you'd be in the end zone.
8 minutes and 44 seconds left in this third quarter of play, and Claflin up 44-14, getting ready to go for a 2-point conversion. Very impressive.
David Debus on another
Debus one more time again. A 9-yard touchdown run following a 62-yard drive and a 2-point Debus conversion. 46-14. The 2-time defending state champion Claflin Wildcats are much closer to winning their 3rd title in a row.
You know, these seniors have been so fun to watch for 3 years. You know, Coach Webb said to these guys a few weeks back that he really felt that when these guys were seniors, he would win a state championship. He had no idea that he would have been handing them 2 prior to this. So what a great reward for these seniors that have worked so hard throughout their career.
You know, and Coach Smith from St. Mary's Colgan said prior to the game that one of the things he was really concerned about was Claflin's ability to just run the ball at you, and the effect that would have in a ball club in the late second period and early third period. You can see it here. The Colgan players starting to get their heads down just a little bit. It's tough when a football team runs at you like Claflin does. I believe you said, Dave, they're averaging over 400 yards a game.
That's right.
With the rush.
Keith Staudinger gonna kick it off one more time today. He's had his share of kickoffs.
He's been the most valuable player of the year on just kickoffs.
It's not an impressive kick, but he gets it down the field.
Oh, number 30, Evan Beck. I tell you, what a kid. That kid can hit, and he can hit hard, and he made a great tackle there.
Nick De La Sega.
Evan Beck again, a junior that we'll be seeing next year, hopefully.
You know, the Atwood Buffaloes were one of the best teams we'd seen against the rush all year long. And prior to playing us, they had played Quinter and I believe it was Syracuse, and they held those 2 teams to a total of 3 yards on the ground total. Last week we had 3 kids over 100 yards. That's saying a lot for Webb's rushing offense.
1st and 10 Panthers from their 37. Nick Smith back to pass. He's got a receiver open. We've seen that play a few times today. Adam Duncan. It hasn't been extremely successful for them, but they continue to run that play.
The corner on that side, on the left side of the field there, number 88, P.J. Stiles, did a nice job. Let the receiver catch the ball for not much gain, but then punished him with a tackle, and fairly well played.
That kid has done a great job. You know, a lot of teams, like I said earlier, come in and they watch film and they say, hey, we're going at number 88, P.J. Stiles. He's a junior over there. Let's pick on him. I tell you what, he just gets right after it. He makes a mistake. He comes right back.
On 2nd and 5, Smith finds Wachter, who is going to be dropped for a loss on the play.
John Staudinger did a great job that time. He sniffed that play out and was right there.
I tell you, there's not a lot of guys that can make an open field tackle like that. Staudinger and Evan Beck and Colin Omoka, those guys are averaging 10, 11, 12, 14 tackles a game. That's just how they're doing it right there.
They're pretty impressive. You know, the size of the Wildcats is going to start wearing very heavily, if it hasn't already, on Colgan. When you're pushing against those big bodies all day, it's going to wear you out. 3rd down and 6. And there's the old hook and ladder play one more time.
And once again, Dustin Hickel saved a touchdown with some heads-up play. That was a big play as it was, but Hickel, for the 2nd time in this ball game, has stopped what I believe would have been a touchdown.
You bet.
You know, that's one of the things you're concerned about, even in big games, is your quarterback being back there, as good as an athlete as he is, maybe getting hurt trying to make that play, but he goes right at him. What a determined kid.
Well, one neat thing about a quarterback at free safety is he knows what he's doing back there.
1st and 10, and Smith was in the shotgun formation and going to be dropped for a loss on the play.
I tell you what made that play happen is number 94, Aaron Heckley, has done such a super job this year of turning those plays inside. And when you do that, that's what's going to happen to you against the Wildcats.
getting back to what I was saying about Hickel, you know, and having a quarterback also play free safety, is as a quarterback, a lot of your reads are at the free safety, and you begin to understand that position from an offensive perspective. Then you come in and play it defensively, and you really know what you're doing out there.
Second and 11 Panthers at the 46-yard line of the Wildcats, and we've got a halfback option pass here. Duncan looked like he was open out there, but pass was underthrown, and some good defense by the Wildcats. P.J. Styles.
Once again, P.J. over there stayed right with that receiver and wasn't giving up any ground. He nearly had an interception, so my hat's off to that young man. He's coming back next year.
And then you also see the free safety, Dustin Hickel, who rolled over, and in essence you ended up having double coverage. If that free safety doesn't roll over and P.J. does get beat, you've got a problem. That time they were both there.
3rd and 11. Smith finds his receiver, Brett Thompson.
You know, there was a lot of people that were expecting this game to be much like the Smith Center Silver Lake game a couple of years ago. I don't know if you remember that, guy.
Oh, yes.
Smith Center came in here ranked #1 and had only given up 6 or 8 points all year long. And Silver Lake just passed the ball down the field. Smith Center ran the ball down the field. And
that was the game of the day in the state that year.
Exactly. Smith Center went for their 2-point conversions and failed one time.
That's right.
Silver
4th down. The Panthers need a first down here. Smith with a rush on. He's got a receiver open. Adam Duncan, he will score. 37-yard touchdown pass from Smith to Adam Duncan.
Well, that time what happened is you had an uncovered receiver. There was a mix-up with P.J. Styles on the inside. He rolled in as a tight corner roll, left the receiver wide open, and as an uncovered receiver, all he had to do was catch the ball and run it into the end zone.
Well, Pittsburgh did a great job there picking that up, and blitz was coming on, and they scored their 3rd touchdown of the game. That's the first time this year the Wildcats have given up 3 touchdowns.
Taylor with the conversion. 46-21 now. 5:44 left, 3rd quarter of the 2-1A state title game from Lewis Field Stadium. Gentlemen, we've got a whale of a ball game on our hands. A lot of excitement, a lot of scoring.
Well, on that series, Smith, the quarterback for Colgan, did a much better job. He set his feet, didn't let that rush get to him, and delivered 3 or 4 nice passes on that drive.
Yes, he did. And with the pass rush that Claflin put on that time, throwing it back across the field, and Duncan was wide open. (46-21). Wildcats will go on offense once again today, and they have not been denied too many times when they've had the ball. They've scored almost every time except for a turnover here or there.
You know, as Dave said before, that coach will come out and let you know what's going on, Greg Webb, and he kind of gave PJ a little earful that time after the play.
You know, if you make a mistake on this team, and no matter where it's at, on the line or whatever, Webb's going to pick up on it, and he's going to help you perfect that area of your game.
Bringing it back across midfield.
He may go all the way.
He could go the distance on this kickoff return, but he's going to be out of bounds.
We've got a flag back out at the 35-yard line. We may see a clipping call. But David is averaging 30 yards per return, and you can see just right there why he does that.
Right up that left sideline. Let's see what the call is. It may indeed be against the Wildcats. It's a clip, according to referee Don Dawes. Mike Lamach trying to get an explanation from the official. Mike, it was just a clip. Or Matt.
You're hoping Matt's
I better
asking,
call him by the right name.
You're hoping he's asking you in a nice tone of voice.
He'll play the pancake game with me up here.
That's right.
We don't want that.
Don't call him Mikey.
Don't call him late for supper
Mikey eats everything, let me tell you.
Okay, they're going to take it right back to midfield now, where the Wildcats will have it just shy of the 50-yard line. 1st and 10 with 5:32 left third quarter.
You know, Claflin has faced one of the best passing games that they've seen all year long, but I don't think they're going to let it get to them. They're just going to run right at them and keep using what's working.
There was a rare stop right at the line of scrimmage for the Panthers.
You know, and as you see, Devis, it took 4 people to get him down. His feet were still moving. He didn't pick up any yardage, but to me, that's an impressive ball carrier. He just does not want to go down.
Keep churning, keep churning.
You know, one thing we haven't seen today is that naked bootleg, and I don't know if Webb's going to show that today or not, but why not throw it right at him? But if that goes, it can go for a lot of yardage.
Well, Dave, maybe you know something we don't. Second down. And
there's not a whole lot of need of anything tricky with a plowboy like Homolka. So
now Homolka right up the middle one more time. Third down and a couple of yards left.
I think Homolka holds the record for quieting down a crowd. I don't know how many times he's done that this year.
Well, when you're running right up the middle like that for as many yards as he consistently gets. 3rd and 2. Hickle hands it up to David Devis. He gets the first down and down to the 20-yard line. I thought he might break through there and get to the end zone, but just shy of the 20. 1st and 10 once again for the 2-time defending state champion Wildcats.
You know, one of the things that I haven't seen that I thought we'd really see later here in the third quarter was that the Panther linemen, the defensive linemen, would sort of lay down, but they're not. Even though they've given up a few big runs here, they're still staying in there and fighting. And boy, I tell you, they're giving up a lot of pounds.
It does wear on you. 1st and 10 now at the 21. Wildcats looking for more points. And David Devis has a nose for the end zone. He gets down to the 15. Pick up of just about 6.
We might look for number 44, Kip Gressinger. If you watch the way Coach Webb has been doing things, it's about time for Mr. Kip to carry the ball.
Like him run around that right side. We've seen him do it several times today. They're going to call it 2nd and 5. Just short of the Panther 15-yard line. Hickle. Some misdirection in there. Homolka right up the middle and scores his 4th touchdown of the afternoon.
If you don't pick up that play at the line of scrimmage, you're in trouble. He can make you pay in a heartbeat.
Dave, in watching these kids from Claflin, there's got to be some next-level interest in some of these kids. What have you heard?
Well, I know number 1, Dustin Hickle. Of course, he's my nephew, so I get to talk to him quite a bit. And I believe he's interested in Washburn. From what I understand, he wants to be an eye doctor. So that's the way to go. If you only want to, that's a kid with a good head on his shoulders. If he's already known when he's interested in something like that. But of course, Lamach, he's been sought after by several Division I teams: K-State, KU, Colorado State, and of course Homolka. You got to leave him alone for another year, and Evan Beck. So yes, these kids have some.
And Devis gets the try for the point after, and he is stopped just shy with 3:07 now remaining in this third period. 52-21. The Wildcats with a big lead.
You know, going back to that, Howard, some of these guys have seen what some of the kids in the past couple of years have gone on to do. You know, Josh Homolka walks on to the KU program, and I know KU is not what K-State is, but any time you can walk on to a Division I program, that's saying quite a bit. Of course, Kip Cannell goes up to Washburn, and he's redshirted this year, and he'll do great things for them this year. And Tyler Klug from a couple years ago is starting on offensive line, one of the best offensive lines in JUCO football at Hutchinson, Kansas. So these guys are seeing that happen, and it just gives them that much more courage just to go on.
Well, and that's great in a 2A, 1A program to see that number of kids moving on to the next level. And it makes these younger kids see why it's important to stay with the program. Exactly. And even though they don't get a play maybe till their junior year, sometimes even their senior year, those kids still get recruited because the people at the next level know the quality of the coaching staff down here and what these kids can do.
Exactly. That's one of the things that I've talked about with my son, number 7, Brandon Hickle. He hasn't played much at all on varsity. He played quite a bit on junior varsity, but you know, to help him stick it out and stay in there and keep practicing with these guys, because you're practicing against the #1 team in the state of Kansas, and you're just making them that much better. So if you're doing that, that says a lot about yourself.
Keith Staudinger, his 7th kickoff of the day. It rumbles around, and it's picked up at about the 35-yard line. Nick. Micah Ealing, the short return for the Colgan Panthers to the 36-yard line is where they're going to mark it. The Panthers will take it over 1st and 10 there, trailing by 31 points.
You know, you talk about two teams that have come in here today, Howard. As you said earlier, one passes, one runs. You would think the one that passes would have the 52 points.
Nick Smith gives it to Walker right up the middle. And Walker's across midfield down inside the Wildcat 35-yard line.
Well, that time the draw play worked to perfection. Colgan with a big play.
That's one thing that you would think would work against the Wildcats, who just over-pursue so much. So someone didn't stay home in the middle.
And I think the Wildcats are back on their heels just a little bit with a 30-plus lead. Wouldn't you imagine, Howard?
Yeah, it's easy to do. You know, you get up 30 points, and sometimes you mentally you take a break or two, although you don't see much of that with Claflin.
No, you don't.
Webb's the kind of coach that just doesn't allow that to happen.
That intensity continues. Smith on the pitch to Walker around the left side this time, and he is going to score from 34 yards out. Russ Walker.
I think he got bounced out, Stan, at about the 2-yard line.
You know, you're right, he did, Howard.
Number 32, David Debb, is hustling over there to knock him out.
Trying to give him the benefit of the doubt here. Just shy of the end zone. As you were watching, Howard, I was going to give him some points they didn't earn yet.
I'm almost wondering in the back of my mind if these guys, if they're giving up the yardage on purpose just so they can stay in the game for once.
Yeah, I thought about that earlier, Dave.
Most of these guys haven't played a whole game most of the season, so I really doubt it, but it almost looks like that.
There's Walker. He must have gotten just enough of the ball in that time.
Number 20 is going to get a personal foul. He was unhappy with the way Lawmach took him down, so he may want to get up and have a chat with the ref, but I doubt if he wants to have a chat with Lawmach.
Well, it could have been worse.
Well, you
Russ
really
Walker
have to give St. Mary's Colgan credit, as you did before, Dave. They're not laying down. They're down by 30 points, but they come right back and score a touchdown. And that's a real credit to their program.
Exactly.
Well, following that personal foul penalty, Joe Taylor is going to have to kick a 35-yard point after attempt. And it's only going to be good for 1 point.
He's got the foot to do it. Let's see how straight he can go. He gets it.
Yes, he does. That was a nice kick. That was worth 3 points, but he's only going to get 1 for it.
He could have moved back another 10 yards. That was a great kick.
Well, you know, with the passing ball club, we have 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in this third period, but basically a 3 touchdown with 2 conversion points ball game. So
anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
52-28, 2:20. As you can see on the screen, 2:20 left here in the third period. And the Wildcats are going to get the ball back.
Well, one of the things that the Colgan Panthers haven't been able to do today was stop the Claflin offense. So let's see what they do here. I seriously doubt that they can stop them, but anything can happen here. You never want to lay down when you're in a state championship game, because the other teams you're facing, they got here too. So there's no slouches.
Pittsburgh Colgan has won 11 straight ball games after losing their season opener. They want this just as badly as the Wildcats do. And the Wildcats need to run some time off the clock. All these first downs stop the clock. Greg Webb's boys need to run 9 yards and stop. Run that clock down a little bit.
I'll tell you, the Wildcats have only given up 64 points all year long, and for Pittsburgh to come in here and score 28, I tell you, my hat's off to them.
They've done a whale of a job. Here comes Joe Taylor on the kickoff. And Beck will bring it back to the 30-yard line. Just across the 30. We'll see where they mark it. 1st and 10 for the Wildcats from their 30 with 2:14 left third quarter, 52-28.
Here in fourth quarter with the win, but like I say, they stay on the ground, and it's a third down situation, 3rd and about 14. This is a big play here for Pittsburgh for the Panthers to try to stop us here if they have any chance of coming back in this ballgame.
Well, Claflin will come out in their power I set.
Number 44, Kip Kreisinger with the ball. He's a good, strong runner, and he's running hard. He may have another first down, but it looks like the spot's going to leave him just about a yard short, maybe 2 yards short. But I tell you, a good, strong run by that guy that's nursing that shoulder. He's going to have surgery at the end of the season.
I've really been impressed with him today as he comes in that little sweep play. He must be averaging close to 20 yards per carry on that play today.
I think you're right, Howard, and that's big for a guy whose main role this year has been the block for David Debus and Kip Kolanamoka and Dustin Hickel. He's just done a super job.
Well, a big 4th down play here.
We saw that earlier on, and it was 4th and short when David Debus took it all the way in for a touchdown, and that almost happened here. So he just picks up the first down, and once again, we're stopping the clock.
The Wildcats can't even stop themselves today with the penalties. They get set back and continue just to grind it out.
Well, that's what's impressive to me is, you know, they'll maybe have a 2nd and 20 or a 2nd and 25, and instead of, you know, panicking and going to the passing attack, they come right back with what they know how to do, pick up 10 yards on a carry and then another 10 yards, and they just have great confidence in their ability to move the football.
Exactly. You know, so many times when a team gets into that situation, 3rd and 24 or 3rd and 14 or 2nd and 24, they come out and say, okay, let's drop one over the middle or let's throw one downfield. Webb never makes that mistake. He just keeps taking what's working and throws it right at him.
I'd like to see him play Fort Hays. 1st and 10 now for the Wildcats at the 32 of the Panthers.
There's Homoka.
And Homoka, another fine carry to the 25-yard line.
That was a shoestring tackle there by number 20. And
Russ Wachter.
If he hadn't done that, Homoka was off racing to the end zone.
Yes, indeed. Walker's done a good job on both sides of the ball today.
Well, I can tell you, Homoka, only a junior, but he can play at the next level.
Exactly.
I have no question.
His dad played up here at Fort Hays State University, so I think Colin, I don't know what his plans are in the next few years, but he's got one more year to spend here.
Gonna be getting some phone calls. 2nd down and 3, and here comes Debus through the left side, and he continues to grind it out. They're impressive. You wouldn't know they had a lead like they do the way these kids are hustling out there.
And what's kind of interesting with Debus is you watch him spin. A lot of players will spin, but they go nowhere. Debus spins, and the feet are still moving at the same time.
That's
right. What makes him so devastating as a runner.
That's one of the things I was mentioning earlier. You know, we talked about the 9-10 yards per gain, you know, per carry. That's how it's done right there. He gets hit at the 3 or 4 yard mark, and he just keeps going and gains another 3 or 4 more yards.
He's not running parallel to the line of scrimmage. He's moving north and south. I mean, he's getting the job done. Dustin Hickel this time trying to get around the right side of the line, but going to be stopped big time by several of the Panther players.
Jimmy I don't know how to pronounce that one, Stan. Van
haven't said it in a while. Van
Beesler.
Van Beesler, yes.
Van Beesler. All right. Well, Jimmy, you did a great job on that play.
Yeah. We're just going to call you Jimmy. Van Beesler has done a good job on both sides of the ball, too. Caught a couple of passes from the quarterback Smith today. 2nd down, and after that loss on the attempted run around the right side by Hickel, and they're back in that I formation and going to give it to Debus across the 15 and down to about the 14-yard line as the clock continues to wind down, and the Wildcats move ever closer to winning their 3rd straight state title. Coming up on the 9-minute mark here in the ball game, 52-28, and with a 3-yard gain, 3rd and 10 now.
You know, the Panthers are still playing great defense here, and they know if they let the Wildcats score here that this game is pretty much out of reach. So if there's any chance of them coming back, they've got to make a stop here and not let the Wildcats in for any more points.
You know, and I don't know if these young men realize it right now, but 30 years from now, they'll still remember this game and what it meant to them personally and to the community. And what a thrill. You know, high school football, in my opinion, is a sport that is just incredible to watch and incredible to be a part of. I've coached at the high school level, and I still get goosebumps at the beginning of the game, you know, even setting up here.
Exactly. It's amazing what it does to a community. You know, the program that Claflin has, the community's just buzzing all week long, even before the, you know, not even before just the state championship game, but all the games, you know, especially this week they're buzzing. And it just puts a chill down the spine of all the people in the city of Claflin.
Well, what happens is it becomes synergistic. It starts with the coach, and then the players, and the players buy into the program. Pretty soon the community's buying into it. And the next thing, it's just a real positive synergy. And enthusiasm, in my opinion, breeds enthusiasm.
You know, and you said it before, Howard, you look across the field and see the number of fans. You might expect to see that at a 4A or 5A ball game, but from a 1A school.
A sea of purple across the field. Wildcat fans from all over Barton County up here for this 7th trip in 11 years to the state title game. Says an awful lot for the folks from Claflin.
Right. And I know my 9-year-old son, I think he's 9, he's watching this ball game, and I tell you what, this is exciting for him. And he's already said to me many times, Dad, I can't wait till I get up there. I can't wait to do that, you know, and that's big.
3rd down, and Hickle draws him off sides.
You know, talking about this kind of enthusiasm, I know the other night at the Smith Center game when Collegiate came in, Collegiate brought in 6 busloads of people.
Wow, that's right.
And that's the great thing about high school football at playoff time. You know, the communities get behind these ball clubs, and it just breeds excitement. That's fun. I remember a few years ago with Hayes High when we were against Liberal in the semifinals, and this entire stadium was packed, standing room only.
There's Omoka. He's going
right
into the end
on
zone.
3rd down.
And he fumbled.
Fumbled the football.
I believe Pittsburgh has it. That was a bad break there by Homoka.
Boy, that's the 2nd time that Claflin has been inside the 2-yard line and fumbled. This score actually could be in the high 60s at this point.
Well, with 8:29 left, the Panthers are going to take over following the fumble by Homoka. 3rd down and 5 there, and Homoka right up the middle of the play we've seen so often the last couple of years. And Nick Smith's going to bring him to the line. Got him spread out.
I have a feeling Homoka's going to want to make him pay on this one. He's coming in for the blitz.
Yes, he is. He's lining up that middle linebacker position. And Nick Smith takes it on the quarterback keeper, trying to get himself a little more room.
I hate to be on the offensive side of the ball once Colin Homoka has fumbled it, and he's a little upset right now.
You know, in that time he did a good job, but as a player or as a coach, you want to caution your players against that, because if they make a fumble, they make a mistake, what you really want to tell them is, hey, look, forget that. That play's over. Now play your position. Don't let that emotion get to you, and because when you do, you can over-pursue.
And 2 wrongs don't make a right. Just go on about your business. Shotgun formation. Nick Smith looking for a receiver across the middle, and he's got his receiver. Russ Walker. Devis on the stop, and Walker is flat on his back. Looks like he might have the wind knocked out of him.
Dave, that's what you've been saying since the beginning of this ball game, that center was open, and St. Mary's had to throw the ball downfield. Surprisingly enough, they haven't done a lot of that, but it has been open.
Micah Ealing going to replace Walker in the lineup. Walker got up very slowly that time.
You know, that time Smith backed up in his own end zone with a lot of confidence, and he planted himself and threw a very good pass. And that's
First
one of
and
the
10 from the 26 now. And this time Joe Garrison is going to be stopped in an attempt to go around the left side of the line. for a loss.
And imagine that, Colin Omoka and Evan Beck, 2 guys averaging 14 tackles per game. There they are.
That play did not fool Claflin at all.
Not at all. 3-yard loss, 2nd down, 13 as the clock continues to wind down on this 2-1A state title game. 7 minutes exactly left in the contest. Claflin looking for their 3rd straight state title. 52-28 the score. Nick Smith redirecting some of his players. They know time is of the essence here. Smith rolling right out of the shotgun and just about throws it away to quarterback Dustin Hickel, who was quarterbacking in the outfield out there on defense.
There he was. Howard, you mentioned it before. That's why the Wildcats have him back there. You know, he knows what it's all about to be throwing the ball and to be running on offense, and he picked that play up very well.
Certainly did. Went right through his fingertips, and clock stops on the incompletion.
That free safety is taught to read the quarterback. As the quarterback drops, he drops, rolls with the quarterback, and then looks to his backside.
Walker is back in the game. He's caught a lot of passes over the middle today. I'd watch for him again, and there he is, and can't hold on. Ealing had gone out that time. Walker was back in, and that play has done so well for them today, but he couldn't hang on to it that time, and we're looking at a 4th down. And I would imagine, considering the state of affairs, that Colgan might try to attempt to get a 1st down here, but nope, they're not going to do it. Van Beesler is going to try to kick it away. At least he's going to line up to attempt to do that.
The Wildcats are taking nothing for granted. They're watching for the fake kick.
Yes, indeed. Possible fake punt, but Van Beesler kicks it away. A high.
That was a good, smart move by Webb. Don't take any chances for a fumble.
That's right.
Let him kick it against the wind.
He doesn't miss much, does he?
You know you're running the ball hard, and I tell you, he's on top of the game all game long.
Back to the 38-yard line for the Wildcats, where they'll take it over what could be their final possession.
I would assume you'll see some young kids out here maybe this time.
There's number 58, Gunnar Graves. Him and Kyle Creer Jr. have been switching off at that center position. That's a new position for those guys. And I tell you, when you're playing center on a Class 2-1A state championship team, that's a big job.
Yes, it is, especially when they're running Homolka up your backside a couple times in the ball game. Here goes Hickel around the right side. He's across the midfield stripe. And
14-yard pickup.
I tell you, he'd already had the 1st down, and that's a quarterback, guys, that is carrying you another 3 or 4 yards. They just know how important each yard is until you get down the field.
You know, I was a little surprised when we got here today, gentlemen, that Claflin was designated as the visitor. Now, I know the state has rules on who the home team is, but this second Saturday in November has almost become like a home game for the Claflin Wildcats here at Lewis Field Stadium.
Yeah, this state championship game has become a national holiday for the people of Claflin, I tell you.
And a national holiday it will be in 5 minutes and 55 seconds.
Well, I don't think that, you know, a lot of people realize how tough it is to not only repeat, but three-peat.
Exactly.
You know, you have injuries you have to contend with. You have teams that come and go with talent and things of that nature. And for a team like Claflin to come in here and win 3 state titles in a row, this is a great accomplishment for the community, the coaching staff, the players.
Exactly. You know, one of the things that Matt Lomich, he probably said it best. It was mentioned in the paper. It's mentioned in all the papers about the streak and how many championships we won. He said it's not all about that. It's being prepared each game, no matter who you're playing. And Coach Webb does probably the best job of that of any team in the state of Kansas. Well, preparing his team.
And that's why they come out on top in a game against Stockton, which is also a perennial state powerhouse. You know, and it's this attention to details. And as you set up here as a former coach and watch what's going on here, I'm really, really, really impressed with the technique.
Following the Davis 8-yard carry, 3rd down and 1 now. Hickel under center from the Panther 38. And there's a fumble on the play, and Pittsburgh says they've got it back.
The only thing that's hurt Claflin today, the only thing that's stopped Claflin has been themselves.
Exactly. That's one of the things we talked about coming in was turning the ball over, and if we did it too many times, you never want to put the ball in the hands of a guy like Smith because he can hurt you. So luckily it hasn't yet, but it's led to most of their 28 points.
First and 10 for the Panthers, their own 38-yard line with 4:37 to play in this state title game. Smith up under center this time. He's going to roll right, and he is going to be brought down by a host of Wildcats, including Evan Beck and Heckley, and Ovoka was in there.
Right now, Claflin understands that Colgan has to throw the football, and they're just pinning the ears back and coming.
Letting that clock wind down. We're approaching the 4-minute mark now. And I would imagine if there's anybody left back at the grain elevator or anywhere else in Claflin, the party has already begun, David Hickel.
The top's come off the champagne, I believe, already.
They're probably drinking milk back there, wouldn't you imagine? Okay, Nick Smith is going to call a timeout. Had a little confusion on what they wanted to call. And Coach Chuck Smith going to go out, try to sort things out while the Claflin Wildcats and Greg Webb going to have a little powwow themselves here.
You know, and I think you have to credit St. Mary's, Colgan. They have nothing to hang their heads about. To put 28 points on the board against a ball club that, what did you say earlier, Dave?
Giving up only 64 points all year long.
You know, and they score almost half that in a ball game. They have nothing to be ashamed of here. They've come in and represented their school and community quite well.
First and 17. Ball on the 31-yard line, actually second down there.
I tell you, right now, the last thing on Webb's mind is that 39th game in a row, and he's still out here coaching these guys and telling them to work on their techniques and who to watch out for. And I tell you, he coaches just like they play. He coaches till the end of the game.
Shotgun, Nick Smith. The fake to Taylor, looking downfield. He's got a receiver open. Brett Thompson across midfield down to the Wildcat 42. First and 10 with 3:43 showing on the clock.
As you watch this Claflin ball club, if they have a weakness, and it's not a bad weakness, but it would be in the secondary coverage.
Amazingly, nobody's exploited it much all season. Smith now back in that shotgun. Fakes it to Taylor one more time, and he's got Walker over the middle this time. That's the play that those plays over the middle have worked very well for Pittsburgh today, but not often enough.
You know, the Wildcats are giving Smith a little time to throw, and boy, I tell you, he can really pick you apart. What an athlete, that number 18.
Another first down.
Well, one of the things you see with the running ball club is even in practice, except for some scout team preparing for the other team, you don't really practice against the pass. And so it's a little tough when you come against a ball club that is going to throw the ball 40, 50 times a game.
First down Panthers at the Wildcat 30. Smith, straight drop back, and he's going to be caught by Evan Beck. Gets him around the ankles, and Heckley and a couple of others in there on the stop behind the line of scrimmage. Haven't sacked Smith too many times today, but there's another one.
You know, when you throw that many times in a ball game, eventually it's going to burn you a little bit, and the Wildcats keep throwing those big guys at you.
And that clock keeps winding down. We approach the 2.5-minute mark in this 2-1A state title game. The Wildcat fans almost sitting on their hands over there, Dave. I'm a little surprised considering the state of affairs. They aren't getting complacent with these state title championship wins, are they?
No, these things never get old, Stan. I tell you, they're a lot of fun. Like I said this week, the community was just on a total buzz, and winning these things or coming to these games just never gets old.
Adam Duncan over there with the ball going through his hands. I think he heard footsteps on that play, and
Smith
bring up a third down.
Smith has had 4 or 5 passes dropped.
He has. I would imagine that Wildcat defense has a little intimidation factor on those receivers out there. 3rd down and 12. Once again in that shotgun formation, and Smith with a drop back and looks over the middle, and he finds his receiver, number 12, Brett Thompson, the senior wide receiver, catches one over the middle and down to the 14-yard line.
You know, Claflin's really letting that post pattern across the middle to be open, and Smith's just picking it right up, and he does a good job.
One thing we didn't see a lot of that we saw right at the beginning of the ball game was Pittsburgh running that no-huddle offense, and they stopped that right away. Smith rolling left. He may run this one, and he's going to be driven out of bounds inside the 10-yard line.
Smith was wanting his receiver to go downfield, and he was motioning to him. You know, a receiver like that, when the play breaks down, should break downfield or break into what they call a broken, pass pattern, and that made it a little tough for Smith. If that receiver had moved on into the end zone, Smith was ready.
Yeah, he was. Under 2 minutes now in this state title game. The Claflin Wildcats are counting down the seconds to their 3rd straight state championship. 2nd down now from the 8-yard line, and Smith looking into the end zone, being chased, and David Debs with the interception in the end zone.
But we've got a penalty. We may have roughened the quarterback.
We sure might.
We may be bringing this play back.
Smith was brought down hard on the play. John Stottinger in there with several others. Let's see what the flag. Personal foul.
Roughing the passer.
Roughing the passer against the Wildcats. And Smith's going to pull up those long blue socks of his and get the next set of instructions from Coach Chuck Smith on the sideline as we.
The game is not in doubt. Claflin's going to win, but for Colgan, if they can stick the ball in the end zone here, it's a 52-35 respectable score.
Exactly.
For
to put 35 points on the board.
This is the last football they will ever play. And so a lot of these seniors want to get every hit, every pass, everything before their careers end.
Even though you're up 24 points, you really hate to see your defense make that kind of play late in the game. Just gives you another opportunity to put points on the board. 1st and 10
now. 1st and goal from the 5, and Smith lays it up nicely.
Boy, great job by the receiver out there.
Adam Duncan. That's his 2nd touchdown catch of the day.
That fade route is a tough play to cover for a defensive corner, and that time it was run to perfection. But you have to have a receiver out there that's willing to go up and get the football, and Duncan did a great job that time.
Duncan caught one in the first half, a 15-yard little pass like that, just toss it up, and he ran under it.
They're going to do it just the same way on the other side.
But that one is going to be incomplete.
And that was something that they needed down by 24 points. They needed 3 8-point touchdowns. So the game's pretty much in the bag. But, boy, you got to hand it to these Panthers. They put 34 points on the board against a tough Claflin Wildcat football team.
Well, and now you're going to see an onside kick. You can bet on that.
Well, I would imagine you will. With 1:44 to play, 52-34. The two-time defending state champion Claflin Wildcats with a commanding lead. A little more overcast, temperatures in the low 50s, and things are a little warmer on the Claflin side of the field as they feel a victory very near now.
Even with just a minute 44 left in the ball game, stopping that 2-point conversion is just a big play mentally for the Wildcats, because it turns it into a 3-drive lead rather than just 2 8-point touchdowns.
Well, Van Beesler was open over there, but who was playing defense on that corner, Dave? You were eyeballing that.
It looked like number 15, Ben South, broke up that play, and I wasn't sure that it looked like he may have pushed off on Ben South, but a play like that can go either way, so we're just lucky that there wasn't a pass interference. Ben South did a good job.
Here's an interesting way to line up for the opening, or for a kickoff. Let's see what they're going to do here. Taylor with the onside kick attempt, and
Looks like Colgan may have it. They do.
Have it.
Number 55.
Sean Willie picks it up. Nice recovery.
Now how big's that two-point conversion? Real big.
Sean Willie on the Good Hands team. He's only a sophomore, but he knew how to get to the football. And here comes Nick Smith with instructions from Coach Chuck Smith. 1:39 left. They're just shy of the midfield stripe. 1st and 10. Colgan Panthers needing a few more points. The Wildcats coming on defense. Here comes Matt Lamach. The pass to Joe Taylor behind the line of scrimmage. He's going to cross midfield. Going down the left side of the line. Joe Taylor finally driven out of bounds at about the 31-yard line. But good enough for a first down. That's going to stop the clock again.
And that was all Joe Taylor. He did that on his own. Basically juked 2 or 3 Claflin players, got to the outside, and then very wisely stepped out of bounds to stop the clock.
You know, we talked about it in the third quarter. The number 18 quarterback Smith was maybe hanging his head a little bit, but boy, he really turned his ball game around, and he's got a lot of confidence right now, even though he's down 18 points. So you got to hand it to this Panther football team.
Okay, Brett Thompson, the senior split back, brings in the play from Coach Chuck Smith, and Nick Smith with that old hook and ladder play again, and Joe Taylor.
You know, the Wildcats stayed home on that. They seemed to pick that up, but they still gained a few yards on it.
Yes, they did. Adams makes the reception, the nice pitch to Taylor. And the 7-yard pickup brings up a second down inside the Wildcat 25 with a minute 13 to play.
Well, there's absolutely no quit in this St. Mary's Colgan football team.
I tell you, it's been a whale of a ball game, gentlemen.
It really has.
Certainly want to thank Howard Peters and you, Dave Hickle, and folks at KMA Productions and Larry Calvary for making this broadcast possible from Lewis Field Stadium today.
Well, this is what it's all about. Both teams playing down to the wire. You know, even though you're down 20, 30 points, you keep fighting, you keep coming back, and, you know, anything can happen because you know you've got a good ball club once you've got this far. So
never say die.
You know, Stan, I might put in a little plug for KMA Productions. Not only do they do a great job bringing high school athletics to the community in general, Ellis and Russell and Hayes, but they have a great facility out there to do commercial work. And so if anybody out in the area, down the Claflin area, looking for some commercial work done, give us a call at KMA Productions.
A lot of documentaries and you name it. They do an excellent job. They've won all kinds of awards. And speaking of all kinds of awards, they're looking for another trophy to put in the school down at Claflin. 2nd down and 3. Smith looking for Duncan one more time, but he makes the reception, but not going to get any yardage.
That was going to be a double pass play. What they were going to do that time was throw it to the wideout, and then he was going to step back and throw it, and Claflin just said no. That was a great job defensively.
You talked about that young cornerback over there, Ben South, and he gives up a little yardage, but I tell you what, he made a big play there and stepped right up and made the tackle.
Boy, he did.
John Staudinger among the others over there making the fine defensive play as we approach now with 1 minute left. 60 seconds.
You know, you talked about Ben South over there, and if he hesitates on that play, if he doesn't read it, steps back and hesitates, now you have a touchdown the other way because there was an open receiver out there.
We've got some of the Claflin fans on their hands, many of them joined by the Smith Center faithful who have already arrived for today's late game in the 2A title game, the 3A title game, pardon me.
You know, South was up far enough that he might have been able to step up and intercept that thing, and South would have been headed north on that one.
Yes. Thank you, Dave.
I know there's a lot of people at home waiting for me to say that one.
Yes, indeed. I could have
only
waited a
said
little longer.
it 13 times this year.
Okay, the final 60 seconds. Nick Smith in the shotgun formation. Claflin on defense. 3rd down and long. Smith trying to find that receiver over the middle one more time. but incomplete.
Number 70, Sean Steinert, hurried Smith a little bit, and Smith just didn't look like he was flat-footed. He saw Steinert coming through, and boy, I tell you, if I was him, I'd be wanting to get rid of the ball too.
Threw behind Joe Garrison.
Well, actually, what happened is he short-armed the ball. The ball came down almost like sidearm with the pitcher. That ball's almost always going to be over or underthrown.
Well, this Panther football team is making these Wildcats do something they haven't done almost all year long, is play clear to the final sound of the horn.
Smith lofts one up into the end zone.
Number 82.
And Beasler there to make the catch.
We're going to have holding.
Touchdown.
Stan, I believe it's going to be holding on the Panthers.
I think you're right.
It's going to bring that one back. Boy, what a bad break for Pittsburgh Panthers.
That is unfortunate for Pittsburgh.
I thought we were going to have another refereeing the passer call, but right away the referee signaled holding on the Panthers.
That was a nice play, and Smith and Van Beasler shake hands and shake their heads. It's going to be all for naught as they bring it back, and it'll be 4th down one more time. And
I'll tell you, had that been a touchdown and they got their 2-point conversion, how big was that 2-point conversion that they missed on earlier to make it 52-36? So.
Could have been a different ball game, that's for sure. Somehow, I think Greg Webb would have found some way to.
He'd have got out there and run the ball himself, I think, behind that line.
Probably could do it. I think you or I could run behind that line.
Well, I could crawl behind that line.
4th and 20. Could be the final offensive play of the season for Pittsburgh. Smith looking into the end zone.
We're going to have another holding
down
call.
one more time.
So whatever happens here is probably going to be brought back.
Going to go into the end zone, and Debus picks it up. And he's going to slide down to the 20-yard line. Now let's check out the marker. I believe it's going to be on Pittsburgh one more time.
Number 76, Matt Lamosh, just flattened number 28. I don't know who that is, but Joe Garrison, he got up a little upset and looked like he was going to go after Lamosh, but I think it was a smart play on his part just to turn around. And, like you said earlier, Howard, when the players play clear to the whistle, and sometimes when you're behind, that tends to get you frustrated.
It does, and then sometimes that frustration level kind of is broken, and you know, I've really been impressed with Claflin. They play to the final whistle.
And they're going to take it over on downs. We had offsetting penalties that time.
Well, the Claflin Wildcats are going to win their 3rd consecutive state title.
35 seconds away from letting the party begin here at Lewisfield Stadium. Many of the Claflin faithful standing at attention, waiting for what's probably going to be the final play of our ball game.
A lot of people proud of these seniors, these 8 seniors who led the way for the Wildcats this year. And
now, 2 years ago, who'd they beat, Dave, when they were up
2
here?
years ago, we played Centralia here, and it was a much different ball game. It was tighter and defensive.
Yeah, it was. Last year?
It was 2 years ago. If you remember, when Centralia had the ball on their own 7-yard line, down 14-12, they elected to go for it on 4th down rather than punt the ball away because we were eating the clock up so much. And they punted the ball away, and we got another 8 points. But last year, we defeated Frankfurt here,
that's right,
30-16, and that was the Kip Cannell year, the Kip Cannell era, where he had 50 touchdowns and over 3,000 yards, 3,300 yards.
We're down to the final 10 seconds. 52-34. That is going to be our final score. The Class 2 1A state champions for the 3rd straight year are the Claflin Wildcats.
I'll tell you, I'm proud of these guys, Stan. And like I said earlier, this never gets old. It's fun seeing these guys go home the state champions.
Well, a real tribute to the parents and all the aunts and uncles and grandmas and grandpas who have stuck by these kids not only this year, but the last 3 years, and Coach Greg Webb and his family. And you see the wonderful display of sportsmanship as both teams line up to shake hands as they get ready to leave the field. And of course, they'll be receiving trophies and all types of things here as they have the final festivities, honor the new state champions, new for this group of Claflin Wildcats anyway.
That's right. I saw earlier down on the field just a little bit ago, number 18 and number 1, the two quarterbacks, talking to each other and shaking each other's hand. They know they've both done a fine job today. Smith, what a great job of passing, and Hickle, what a great job of leading that rushing attack of the Wildcats that just couldn't be stopped once again.
They've done an excellent job. Let's recap some of the scoring here and how things went.
That may take as long as the ball game did, but you started off, Stan.
I'll tell you, Cullen Homolka took it in on a 3-yard touchdown run. David Debs with the 2-point conversion following that 68-yard drive. And that made it 8-0. And then Homolka with a 1-yard dive, and Debus a 2-point run following an 80-yard drive. Then Debus a 52-yard touchdown run in the last second of the first quarter.
That was that fourth down situation, was 4th and short, and
final
the
play of the
defense
quarter
was sucked up, and David went right down the field for a 52-yard touchdown.
And David then took it for the 2-point conversion as well, made it 24-0. Finally, Pittsburgh-Colgan got on the scoreboard early in the second quarter with Nick Smith, a 15-yard touchdown pass to Adam Duncan. They kicked the point after, and that made it 24-7. And then Kip Kreisinger, the 30-plus yard run to take it down to the 1-yard line, and Cullen Homolka a 1-yard dive, followed by the Debus 2-point run, making it 32-7, and that was the score at the half. And then Kreisinger, who didn't get the touchdown in the first half, came back with a 9-yard touchdown run. Old number 44 put it in the end zone to make it 38-7.
You remember how that one started, Stan? We were sitting here talking, and we looked down. The Wildcats were to kick off, and big-legged Staudinger kicked it right into the front line of that Panther offense, and bounced off one of the kids, and there we were, up 38-7.
Then Pittsburgh back on the scoreboard following the 38-7 Kreisinger 9-yard touchdown run. Nick Smith a 16-yard run. One of their few rushing touchdowns of the season. Joe Taylor then kicking the conversion, making it 38-14. Davis came right back with a 9-yard run following on a 62-yard drive, and he also got the 2-point conversion to make it 46-14. And we're going to stop right here to watch the Wildcats get their trophy. 13-0 and 39-0.
There's those 8 great seniors that led the way, Stan. And number 76, Matt Lomach, 94, Aaron Heckley, 32, David Debus, 70, Sean Steiner. All of those guys led the way. Number 1, Dustin Hickle, my favorite. And 44, Kip Kreisinger. Scott Daly, number 82. All those guys just did a super job leading the way this year.
Yes, they did. Well, we were at 46-14 when Pittsburgh got on the scoreboard one more time. A Smith to Duncan 37-yard touchdown pass, making it 46-21. And then Cullen Homolka right up the gut again, a 15-yard touchdown run to make it 52-21. Russ Wachter for Pittsburgh, a 2-yard touchdown run, 52-28. And then Nick Smith, a 5-yard touchdown pass to Adam Duncan, making it the final score of 52-34. The Claflin Wildcats winning their 3rd consecutive state title game.
So, from Lewis Field Stadium, on behalf of KMA, we want to thank you for watching this tape and buying it from us, and congratulations to all the Claflin people on a great season. We'll see you next year.